that girl Henny. Y'all gotta go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where this lady come from?
Right? On your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
What's poppin', everybody? Top of the top. It's your favorite guys and Dr. That Girl Henny. And today we are tapping in with Ben Crump, and we are getting all up into Nolan Wells's autopsy preliminary report. Okay, so yesterday, Ben Crump had announced that he was going to be coming live with the NAACP and that they were going to give us the preliminary report for Nolan Wells. Now, we have not gotten the official autopsy. There has not been an autopsy released from Mississippi. I want to make sure that I am very clear about that. There has been no autopsy, no preliminary report released from the state of Mississippi as of yet. But a lot of people have been questioning why there has not been any release from the family and from Ben Crump. I know I was one of them myself. Like, well, does the family have a preliminary report? Can they just give us that to put some of these rumors to rest, you know, because it's been a lot. It's hard to tell fact from fiction when it comes down to this case. And so now, hopefully, this will give us some insight. We can now start saying and determining what happened to Nolan. That has been the biggest question on everybody's mind. So we are just waiting for them to get started. And yes, we are ahead of the curve because, excuse me, we're ahead of the curve because they have not even started yet. So let me take a minute to just acknowledge those who are in here. Top of the top to you, Purple Doll. I see you was the first one in the chat. Did you get a notification? Shout out to Lisa Bird. Shout out to Peace. 52169. Shout out to 27M Payne. Hey, Bookie. What's going on? Good morning to One Hot Mama and Riri Brooks. Hey, Kimberly Grant. What's going on, Chase Keys? Talitha, what's going on? Good morning. Debonae, good morning. Pretty Ginger, hey, happy 26 months anniversary to you. Thank you for being a member on the channel. Let's see. Good morning, Quella. Did I say that right? Please let me know if I said that right down there in the chat. Hey, K Peel. Now, y'all go ahead and y'all share this out. Good morning, Misha. Talita said they're at the altar. Who's at the altar? I don't know what's going on because we here. Let me go ahead and refresh and see what's going on. If maybe there's a glitch in that. Who's at the altar? Good morning. Good morning, Isha. Good morning, Yo-Yo. Hey, Tashi Boo. Are they having technical difficulties? With the Instagram? Well, I'm live and I don't see it. Okay. I can't see anything. I just see a bunch of people in the comment section on Ben Crump. So if that be the case, give me 1 second. I'm going to do a little poking around because I'm not playing around. We want to know what's going on. Hold on. Hold, please. Give me a second. Let me see something because we also have a lot to talk about, you guys, okay? Let me go here. Hold on. Okay. Give me a second. I think I found it. Absolutely. Y'all hashtag justice for Nolan down here in the chat. Where are you seeing that they are at the podium? Are you there, Tashi? Okay, so let's do this. In the meantime and in between time, so we're not sitting here looking crazy, let's get into this while we wait. Okay, well, there's no need for us to be sitting here looking at a blank screen. Let's go ahead. I wanted to review this anyway. And let me just go ahead. Just know that I do have a screen up. I'm watching. I'm looking. So when it starts, we will be right on time when it starts. Okay. As soon as they get to the podium, I know we all want to know what's going on. But in the meantime and in between time, this video and its content are operated by and protected under the guise of the Fair Use Act. This video will be used for commentary, reporting, possible teachable moments, but most importantly, my opinions, as this is a review. So YouTube and anyone who gets butthurt about it, please do not come copyright striking my channel. Okay. Also, everything in this video is alleged according to what is being alleged, because we weren't there, so we don't know what really happened. All right. So Officer Tatum did an interview with Warren. Warren was one of the guys, I'm gonna say, that was on the boat when with Nolan on the 4th of July. Well, actually, okay, never mind. Hold on. Okay, I think they said they'll be ready to start in about 2 minutes. So we'll see what happens. I have Ben Crump's Instagram. I have the YouTube set up. So we aren't going to miss a beat, just so y'all know. So Officer Tatum sat down with Warren. Okay. Absolutely. I agree with you, Druvy. Uncle Ruckus to the T. I particularly do not care for a lot of his comments. This right here is something that is definitely of importance. So let's watch a little bit as we wait for the.
Who was he to you?
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just the best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. You know, we talked on the phone all the time.
So they grew up through elementary school. So this is somebody who, I guess it's like he's saying they were a childhood friend, but I have not heard Nolan's mom come out and confirm him as being one of his childhood best friends. But this is how Warren is setting this up, that, you know, hey, they've been cool all those years.
Really close friends. And I mean, Nolan was like a brother to me, and Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. You know, there's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I mean, I had a great relationship with Nolan.
Let me ask y'all this. Are y'all noticing that there is a bit of a pattern when it comes down to them speaking on Nolan? I'm noticing, like, when Trayston came out and Trayston was talking and Trayston was saying he was such a sweet guy. Trayston was saying that, oh no, Nolan, you know, he wouldn't get into an argument. He wouldn't get into a fight. I'm noticing that they're saying a lot of the same things. It's sounding very scripted to me. It's sounding very scripted to me. Is it sounding scripted to you guys?
I've never got in an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
Yeah, and you guys, you said you kind of grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right. Well, Nolan, a lot of the times was at like my house and at my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit. I mean, we hang out every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And I mean, we were never at Nolan's house.
That's bothersome to me, because why were y'all never at Nolan's house? What was it that you were never at Nolan's? Why? I mean, when I had friends came to my house, I went to their house, like, and I get it that you do have like a particular house that would be like, quote unquote, the hangout house. And, you know, in friend groups, it's usually the person that has like the coolest stuff at their house or the most freedom at their house for people to get away with certain things. You know, teenagers want to do things. They want to, you know, have relations and drink and do different types of shit. Teenager stuff. Let's not act like we don't know what teenagers do when they be hanging out. It's not that long ago that we were teenagers ourselves. But the fact that he's sitting here saying we never hung out at Nolan's house. Why? Why is that? Yet you're up here telling us and trying to convince us. Well, I can't say that you're not one of his friends, but you're trying to convince us that you're one of his best friends. I'm sorry. The actions ain't lining up with that's my friend.
Which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but
yes, we are getting a press conference.
I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, you ready?
Hold on. I got to get my Prime back.
$118 for car insurance.
My YouTube Prime, because we don't do these commercials.
I picked up the car a few.
I met his father, and I mean, in 8th grade, that's when Nolan and I like got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies, and Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat, and I mean, we were just super, super close. But
so you're close enough to go on weekly meetups to Waffle House, yet you've never been to his house. Interesting. All right, you guys. So it sounds like they're going to be starting soon. So this video will switch over to the press conference as soon as they start. I keep hearing them like tapping a mic. So they're setting up.
His dad would swing by Waffle House, you know, and like, you know, hang out around us, but never, you know, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, you know, anyone else. So.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
Was it something that you guys did more than just this year? It's a 2-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together, that you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay.
Hold on. Before he answers that, I had to go get my water because we finna be here for a minute, okay? But I had to go get my water. First of all, did y'all catch what he said? Did y'all catch what he said? He said, my friends. My friends. Let me rewind that.
July this year when the incident happened.
Anyone else? So.
And walk me through the day.
Really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies, and Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat, and I mean, we were just super, super close. But his dad would swing by Waffle House, you know, and like, you know, hang out around us, but never, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, anyone else. So.
Still just as close with my friends as anyone else. He was just as close with Warren's friends as anyone else. Okay? His friends. Let's see. Michelle says, I know my kids' friends. Their friends know me, but they don't come and hang at my house only because people bring bad energy. In my house is a place of peace. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, he kept saying his friends. Keisha, lower your caps and don't start. We ain't even get to the preliminary report. Don't start. Right. Not our friends, but his friends. That bothered the hell out of me.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
Was it something that you guys did more than just this year? This is a two-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together?
All right, so we're going to have to put that on pause.
Good morning. My name is Trevon Williams, Senior Vice President of Marketing Communications with the NAACP. We are here because a demand was made. A demand for transparency, a demand for answers, and a demand for ultimate justice on behalf of Nolan Wells. And that demand must be honored. Amen. For that, we are honored to pause even for a moment to respond accordingly here at our national convention. Momentarily, you will hear from renowned civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who will provide updates on the findings of the independent autopsy that was conducted in the death of Nolan Wells. Immediately following that, we will take questions from credentialed media. We'll attempt to answer as many questions as we can. However, we want to be respectful of the fact that we do have additional programming that is going on to conclude our convention today as well. So we're asking that all press and media, if you're asking questions, please be concise, give your name, give your media credential, and we'll go from there. But before he comes, we will have the leader of the NAACP, President Derek Johnson, to give opening remarks. President Johnson.
Good morning. Good morning. Far too often, our young people are confronted with challenges, and many jurisdictions and states don't take those challenges serious. We cannot allow another individual, particularly a young Black man's death, go uninvestigated. We have seen this happen over the years, not only in Mississippi, but across the country. It is unfortunate that our young people only seek to enjoy life, and as a result of participating in activities, no longer have life. For the NAACP, we take this and many other cases serious because every person matters. I want to thank the Mississippi State Conference, particularly Alitra Perryman, for working with the family and supporting the family on the onset. Because it's difficult to lose a loved one, it's even more difficult to navigate a process when all eyes are on you. And the pressure of balancing between grieving and navigating is upon you. And so for the NAACP family, this is our role, is to step in, to support when the families have an issue like this, and the local officials seem not to hold people accountable. It's unfortunate when you see news reports and law enforcement officials are repeating what individuals are saying, as opposed to investigate the individuals who gave you the information, because you don't know who was involved or not involved. Amen. And so narrative matters in this case. And we're saying that in Nolan Wells' situation, the narrative should not be it was an accident before there was an investigation. The narrative should not be the words of individuals who went on a boat to the island with him, but they came without him, but with his cell phone, and you don't investigate those individuals.
Facts.
Without accusing anyone of anything other than the state of Mississippi and local officials, we're accusing them of being derelict in their duties.
Agreed. Agreed.
To follow up and to ensure that regardless of what happened, that there was the proper investigation so that this family and that community could be assured that if anyone was involved, they would be held accountable. And if it was truly an accident, that the families will have the necessary answers that any family deserved in this situation. I want to bring to the podium Attorney Benjamin Crump, a friend of mine who have stepped in to take the case and in support of the family to ensure that they get the answers that they deserve and that local officials and anyone involved will be held accountable to this family, to that system, because we are all parents, siblings, to loved ones who should not be confronted with this reality. Attorney Crump.
Thank you very much, President Derrick Johnson, for your leadership, for the leadership of the Mississippi Conference of NAACP, and being there during the homegoing services to help the family go through what no parents want to go through. Thank you to Chairman Leon Russell, my longtime mentor from Florida, who helped raise so many of us. Thank you for always being there, Chairman Russell. As President Johnson said, I'm Attorney Ben Crump, representing the family of Nolan Wells, but it's not just me, it is a team effort of incredible, dedicated lawyers and investigators and paralegals. Attorney Lisa Park, attorney who you'll hear from in a few minutes, Attorney Eric Hertz, Attorney Gary Buchan, Attorney Camila Moore, Cliff Jones, Jared Preston, Alan Williams, our whole team of people who are committed, as I said, President Johnson, on this ferocious search for the truth of what really happened to Nolan Wells. But before we begin to discuss the intricacies of the preliminary findings of the independent autopsy, we think it would be appropriate for you all to hear from the people who knew Nolan Wells best, so they can thank you themselves and tell you about the trials and tribulations that they have been enduring since July 4th. July 4th would never be the same for them. I bring to the podium Nolan Wells' mother and father, Christine and Elmore. Please give them a warm NAACP welcome.
First of all, I want to say thank you all so much. Thank you to President Johnson as well as Chairman Russell. This has been a difficult journey. Losing a child, it truly breaks your heart. It is a pain that is just you can't measure it. Especially someone like Nolan, who brought so much joy and light and life to everyone. You don't find too many genuine people like him. So to lose that light at such a young age under these circumstances has been absolutely difficult, which is why we've gone this route. There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son. That is the only question. We have consistently been degraded by the public. There's been questions about our parenting, our GoFundMe, this, that, and other. I've been called a racist. I am a healthcare provider, and I take my job very seriously. I love everyone. And it's been difficult for us, but we are leaning into our faith, leaning into one another, also leaning into all of you. There are not enough thank yous, not enough appreciation for what you guys have done for us. And we do. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. And so it is our hope that our local authorities will do what they need to do, because us having the preliminary autopsy results and hearing nothing from them, it's heartbreaking and it's concerning, which again is why we are here, why we have asked for this help. So again, thank you all so much for your support. We appreciate you, we really do.
Every day I wake up, it's a new challenge. Knowing that a part of me I will never talk to, I will never hold, I will never play around with or get mad at, it's not here anymore. Nolan brought a lot of joy to our family. He was the wittiest one out of everyone. The clown.
Good morning to everyone tapping in. Please hit the like button and share this out. Let's get these numbers up.
He wanted to make me
over here so I can keep giving you the content.
We were so proud of him just for being the person that he was. He was loving. All his teachers knew him, but loved him. He walks in the room, his aura, you're automatically drawn to it. Never met an enemy. And if they were, they would eventually be friends, because they will eventually bond, and it's gonna be hard. He should be at football practice right now. Calling me after practice, Dad, I made this play, or I made that play, or I get a text with 3 or 4 videos of him doing this, running this route, making this block. And what you think I should do? And I will give my honest, because I always tell them, if anyone is going to be totally honest with you, it's going to be me. And it's not because I'm being mean, but people outside your family are going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to know to make you better.
Thank you for supporting the channel.
It's going to be hard for our family from here on out. And like I said, every day is a challenge. We're going to miss our son. And like my wife said, we just want honesty. We want to know what happened to our son, because the things that you're telling us, that's not the character of our son. We know our son. I understand, our children would do things that, they would kind of dumbfound us sometimes, but the things that we're being told, that wasn't Nolan. So please keep us in your prayers, keep him in your prayers. And we're going to keep pushing and fighting until we find answers. Thank you guys for your love and support.
Thank you so much, Christine and Nolan, Christine and Elmore. Nolan's mother and father. Before we start to go over the preliminary findings from the independent autopsy, we will hear from Attorney Lisa Park to tell you about who was the forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy. Attorney Lisa Park.
Thank you. Dr. Roger Mitchell could not join us today, but we felt it important before we reveal and unfold this report that you understand who conducted this autopsy. Dr. Roger Mitchell is a physician and board-certified forensic pathologist with 2 decades of experience. He currently serves as the president of the National Medical Association, which is the oldest and largest group of Black physicians in the U.S. Most recently, he also served as president of Howard University Hospital, chief medical officer of the Howard University Faculty Practice Plan, and chair of the Department of Pathology.
Thank you
Before
for
joining
supporting the
Howard,
channel.
He served as chief medical examiner for Washington, D.C. from 2014 to 2021, and is later as interim deputy mayor for the Public Safety and Justice. Dr. Mitchell has conducted and managed thousands of autopsies and is nationally recognized for his work at the intersection of medicine, public health, and justice. And for this case, we sought out the very best, and we are proud to be working with the very best.
Thank you, Attorney Park. I again want to express our gratitude to President Johnson, Chairman Russell, and the NAACP, because civil rights is more important than ever in the United States of America today. And so we thank you for the civil rights leaders stepping up to say that our children's lives matter now more than ever. And I want to thank all of you for getting up 8 in the morning. If people could see how many people are gathered here, they would say, you all are truly blessed to have the support of America, Christine and Elmore. And I want to thank the media for covering this matter, because they don't always cover when our children are taken away from us in highly unquestionable ways. And I do understand there's a lot of news going on in America today. I woke up to them saying LeBron James is going to announce where he's going to play basketball next year. But I'm very happy that the media said this story is just as important. And I'm sure LeBron James and Rich Paul and Stephon Curry and Draymond Green, Jaylen Brown, Embiid, Maxey, Giannis, Bam, and many other players in the National Basketball Association will all agree that our children's lives are far more important than where LeBron or any other player will play next year. And so that's why I thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all who have called the call center. I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton. I want to thank Mr. Tyler Perry. I want to thank Mr. Terry Owens for putting up the $125,000 reward for anybody out there who have information so we can get to the truth of what happened. I mean, any videos, and we've gotten so many videos, President Johnson, from that day from young people, and we want.
I was saying we don't need to be emotionally charged. We want the results. We're already emotionally charged. I know, listen, I want to hear, I want to know what happened to Nolan. I don't need the fluff, so to speak. I want to hear.
The fact, Christine, that the United Cajun Navy are so forthcoming. The fact that they told us, we haven't heard from any of their local officials, that Nolan was found face down, fully clothed. Well, that's significant to us because the last time we saw him on the videos, he was without a shirt. So at what point did he put on a shirt? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. There were almost 300, 400 people. Somebody knows something. So we're trying to just make sure people understand.
Have a moment.
You can call the Nolan Wells tip line at bencrump.com. We will gladly listen to you, take any information as we try to put together this puzzle of what happened to Nolan Wells. And today we're gonna add some more parts to this puzzle because my legal team and I, we stand for truth, no matter who it implicates or who it exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or it acquits. Yeah, and we stand for transparency.
Okay, can we get transparent?
Because we got eyes that can see.
Right.
And we don't need government officials having to narrate it for you and me. We can see it for ourselves. Transparency. That leads to the truth. The truth is the foundation for accountability and justice. And that's all we're seeking, as Christina Elmore said from day one. So with that, and Christina Elmore, if you all want to sit, we're about to
I don't know
through this autopsy, and I know it may be a little emotional.
I don't know. Who's reading the autopsy? Who's reading it? I'm not in the mood for the trolling either. This is a very significant piece to this story, to this investigation. So if you cannot contain yourself, we will time you out. We're not blocking anybody. Just put them in the corner, put them in timeout. Okay? They get too egregious, some racist comments start coming through, then they can be helloed from the other side. But other than that, people can speak their opinions, but please be mindful. This is sensitive.
Present the preliminary findings of the autopsy.
I ain't had no coffee either.
Want to especially thank Mr. Colin Kaepernick
yes.
for not thinking it robbery to pay for the autopsy.
Oh, we got the big boards out.
Let's go with the first one. So, where's the?
My stomach is jittery. My hands are freezing cold. I'm nervous. I don't know what we're about to hear, but whatever we hear, be mindful that this is somebody's child. You had to go buy a pack of Newports off of one somebody. Listen, I feel like I need a Newport 100 right now. I haven't smoked in years.
An autopsy will be provided for the media at press@bencrump.com.
Any legal, you heard? BenCrump.com. We need that.
I don't need this one. I just need this one here.
Oh, Lord.
Pull this closer. So, pull this up here.
Ain't that the truth, Druvy?
So, Dr. Roger Mitchell, board certified forensic pathologist, performed a preliminary report on the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. He conducted and presented this report on July 19th, 2026. Preliminary report, second autopsy, death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death, undetermined, pending investigation.
Ooh.
And we'll explain that as we go through the report this morning. The manner of death, undetermined, pending investigation.
What?
Statement of examination. This forensic pathologist was retained to perform a second autopsy examination on the body of Nolan Xavier Wells. Name of decedent, Nolan Xavier Wells, age 18 years old, race, black, gender, male, date of death, unknown.
What?
Second autopsy date was performed on July 10th, 2026. Preliminary findings.
Okay, let's hear the findings, y'all.
And this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time. He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation. He said corona incision of the scalp, brain removal, Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso, and he talked about the organs being removed as is common, accompanied in the body cavity. And that when you have an autopsy, the organs are removed from the body and they are dissected and examined.
Right.
And then they are put back in a bag within inside the body.
Right.
So when they're buried, their remains will all be with them.
Right.
But in this occasion, if there's going to be a second autopsy, then the organs are put in the body cavity so the second pathologist could be able to examine the organs as well.
This is not a Kendrick Johnson moment, y'all.
For Dr. Mitchell was that the anterior inner neck structures were absent, not received with the body.
What?
And we'll explain that in just a minute. And then it talks about the additional procedures performed during the second autopsy. And we'll go into the paragraphs on that there because he explains it better in his narrative.
Where was there water in the lungs? Okay, wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Let's pause for a second. Breathe. Because he's going to explain whatever it was about the throat that was missing. he's going to explain where it is. But the organs being removed is a normal process. They have to weigh the heart. They have to dissect the liver. There's a lot that they do to the organs when they are doing autopsy. So breathe. I know we are scarred. I know when we heard that, we're thinking Kendrick Johnson. That is not Kendrick Johnson. This is not Kendrick Johnson. Okay. I want to know, was there water in the lungs? Come on, Crump.
Of the discussion, not the diagram yet. You can keep the diagram over there.
Good morning to everybody joining in. We are listening to the preliminary report of the independent autopsy that was done by Ben Crump's medical team that he sought out.
He talks in the preliminary discussion opinion. This forensic pathologist identified several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing a definitive cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells. And that's important. He talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. He talked about the second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompensation or changes. Marked decompensation can obscure the presence and absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination.
So they can't tell if there was bruising because of the decomposition of the body. So they can't tell if there's marked bruising or not because of that. That's what I heard.
What he's saying, because the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there was bruises or abrasions on the body when he received it on the 10th of July. For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. These procedures included facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, the pelvic, dissection of the subcutaneous and deep soft tissue.
So this would explain why the coffin was not open, why it was closed, because they dissected his face so that they could rule out any potential blunt force trauma being inflicted on Nolan as a cause of death. Okay.
Dissection of the back, the buttocks, the arms and legs. He did all of this to rule out things. He ruled out there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries identified. This was very important because he wanted to be very thorough and very transparent, because transparency is the key to getting to the answers of why Nolan Wells is not with us.
So was there blunt force trauma or not?
So he did that there and
stop it, y'all.
Straightforward, very open, very open.
Yes, they carved him up to find out.
However, dissection of the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration in the deep soft tissues overlaying the occipital bone. And he talked about how he found red discoloration when he cut open into the back of his head towards the occipital bone, and he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. It's significant. You can't help but notice why is this dark red here in the back of his head? And so he was important to note that.
So he was hit in the back of his head. That's what they're saying. He was hit in the back of his head.
In his report.
Thank you, Druvy.
He said the etiology of this finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the overlaying skin nor fractures of the underlying skull. These findings are inconclusive for perimortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition and the absence of associated injuries. This finding, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in this preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that the finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissection were not performed.
So I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he's saying that they did hit him, that they didn't hit him, if they can't determine if they hit him, because there's no fractures to the skull. There's no fractures to the skull. So let's try to weed through it. I'll get the document and we'll read through it. But yeah.
He said another limitation, move this back here. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body. So he's saying that the throat was not received with the body when he got Nolan Wells' body in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy.
Why is his
And
throat
so
not
let's
there?
discuss that with what he said about that.
What's the excuse? We want to hear.
He said, it is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. He said the retention of the anterior neck structures during an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C. And he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too will hold them back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said the throat was not with the body of Nolan Wells when he received it in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. He said, nevertheless, a posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structures is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or a cause of death. He said he would need to have the medical examiner in Mississippi allow him to review the throat. That's why he said his autopsy is undetermined pending investigation. Remember, it's about transparency. Because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and the lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. He said it is very significant as to what the initial forensic scientists who got to review the body when it was recovered. We have heard from our call center people saying the body wasn't waterlogged. Well, we need to know those things. But unfortunately, because the body was decomposed and the organs have already been dissected, those are things we can only get from the initial autopsy. So therefore, again, the manner and cause of death is undetermined until further investigation. We are hopeful that the Mississippi Medical Examiner would give Dr. Mitchell an opportunity to see their photographs and their observations to the condition of Nolan Wells' body closer in time to July 4th. That is very important, and we have to continue to demand transparency, President Johnson.
Why no date of death? Can we get to the
In
lung?
addition, the original toxicology results have not been received at the time of this report. And we continue to wait for the toxicology to come back because, again, that will be part of the investigation into Nolan Wells' autopsy by Dr. Mitchell. It is significant to note that it's many things that go into toxicology that only Dr. Mitchell would be able to opine upon, and medical experts can opine upon. And he feels the proper place to do that is before a grand jury in a courtroom. And so we would hope that the district attorney would present Dr. Mitchell before the grand jury as well. We want all relevant information to be heard by the grand jury.
I agree.
Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water, this is important. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water with suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water. This is the crux of the matter. This information is especially important for those deaths of persons who can swim. As in the case with Nolan Wells, at the time of this report, this forensic pathologist does not know the condition of Nolan Wells. He did not know whether he was conscious or unconscious when he entered the water. He said that would be significant. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water. He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance to being able to determine a cause and manner of death.
Was there water in the
He
lungs?
said, definitive circumstances of death are required to determine the manner of death. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out, and let me really call your attention to this. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. understand, he's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play.
We got that. But what's in the lungs? The lungs will determine whether or not he went in the water alive or if he was deceased when he went in the water. You're telling us about this mark in the back of his head, but you can't tell us how the mark got there or if the mark was blunt force trauma to the head because there's no fracture to the skull. You're telling us that it's normal for them to not send the throat because the throat is under investigation to rule out or determine strangulation. You're telling us you have no time of death, no date of death, no nothing. What?
That is significant. With the following questions still outstanding, number one, what were the circumstances that led to Nolan Xavier Wells entering the water? Number two, what was the body position when it was found? We know that a member of the United Cajun Navy said that he was face down and he was fully clothed. Number three, was there water in the airway?
Yes, was there?
Remember he talked about the lungs and the airways.
No, I didn't hear the lungs and the airway.
Number four, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We got the body without his neck at the time of the second autopsy. Number five, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhaging? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy that the initial medical examiner would have been able to observe. Number six was the composition of what was the composition of the stomach contents? He talks about that being important because when was he found? How long had he been in the water? How long had it been since his last meal? All those things become relevant factors.
But how
when you're
does he
trying
not wait
to
a
do
minute?
a thorough and impartial autopsy? And number seven, what are the toxicology report findings? He said the best classification again for the cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells is undetermined pending investigation. This forensic pathologist reserves the right to review and incorporate additional forensic pathology information into his opinion as it becomes available. He says the above opinions are expressed to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Dr. Roger A. Mitchell, July 19, 2026. And we know that, as I said, this is only another part of the puzzle. And even though it tells us significant information, we still have more questions than we have answers at this time. And we will continue to press forward and persist, Christine and Elmore, with getting the answers to these questions. Because yes, we will persist, because as Christine and Elmore and Attorney Parker and I talked this morning, we know that there are so many conflicting stories. The fact that she said him being found face down, the fact that we have other videos where people who have called said that is Nolan, who is in some kind of dispute with others. We're looking at all of these things. The fact that the GPS tracking of the boat is being questioned by many. we're trying to dot every I and cross every T, because we understand that when our children's lives are at stake, it matters. Not just what happened, but what we do in the aftermath of them being taken away from us. And just like the NAACP stood up when another tragedy in Mississippi taking the life of young Emmett Till, we will stand up for Nolan Wells. Just like the NAACP and civil rights leaders stood up when another Mississippi son was taken in Medgar Evers. We will stand
second
up
autopsy, they cut up
for
his
Nolan
body.
Wells. And just like too many of our young people, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Botham Jean, Terrence Crutcher, Stephon Clark, Sandra Bland, Atiana Jefferson, Alton Sterling, Eric Gardner, George Floyd, Tamir Rice, the young people who I was trying to focus on. Gary, we stand up until we get the truth, until we get justice for Nolan Wells. 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 We were asked if Christine and Elmore and President Johnson can come back and join us on the stage. And Trevon, we will have you coordinate questions and answers for us or President Johnson or Attorney Park and I. I will say this, as President Johnson comes to the stage, I was sharing this with him and Chairman Russell, Christine Clark. God knows we wish we had you at the Department of Justice now. Christine Clark. As I was sharing with President Johnson and Reverend Al and others, this is so important that we continue to talk about Nolan Wells and what happened to him, and that we get attention on him, because in getting attention on him, it brings attention, Cliff Jones, to other cases that are not getting their attention as of yet. But I'm so grateful to Christine and Elmore, because they said whatever we can do, not only to help our son, but to help these other young black boys who was killed the July 4th holiday. And I want to take a moment before we answer your questions to talk about two other young black men, both 18 years old, who were killed in extraordinary ways that are very similar to Nolan. President Johnson, 18-year-old Daniel Irvins went on a fishing trip, out on a fishing boat with two other young men. He was the only black. It is alleged that he ended up accidentally drowning, but his two white friends got his cell phone and threw it away, got his clothes and threw it away, and then went and deleted all of their text messages with him and social media. Sounds familiar? And they've only been charged with tampering with evidence. And his mother is crying out that they should be charged with murder, because if they will lie about his cell phone and his clothes and deleted messages, then they will lie about what really happened to Daniel Irvins. And then there's the matter, President Johnson, Christine Clark, of 18-year-old Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, on 4th of July, was at a house party with about 10 other people. He was the only black person at the house. He somehow ends up shot in the head, dead. Some of the friends get rid of the gun. The police show up. They tell the police it was an accident. It was an accidental shooting, that they were playing Russian roulette. And Tyler Smith ended up getting killed. And apparently, Christine Clark, President Johnson, the police just took their word for it. His mother and grandmother are incensed. They asked the police, did you do a gunshot residue test on his hands? And the reason they said they had to call us, like Daniel Irvins and Nolan Wells family, because the police told them, President Johnson, that there was no need to do gunshot residue on his hands or any of the other people in the house, because I don't understand this logic, but they said if they were playing Russian roulette, then all of them will have gunshot residue on their hands. So we don't need to do gunshot residue tests. It makes no sense whatsoever. So
I'm sorry. I don't know if I said I'm going to mute him for right now and talk, because I'm sitting here rocking and shaking my head, because I don't know if this is a ploy that Crump is using to smoke out Mississippi to give up their preliminary report. Y'all still can't hear me or not? I don't know if this is a ploy for that, because I don't understand how a second autopsy does not determine cause, manner, time, date of death. You have decomposition within the body. Y'all still can't hear me? Okay. You have a state of decomposition, and based off of decomposition, you should be able to determine a date of death. You should be able to determine that this is your profession. The only organ that was said to be missing was the interior of the throat. That's what he said was missing. You didn't say the stomach contents. You didn't say anything about the lungs. We know nothing about any of that. So I'm feeling like he's dropping this information to try to smoke out Mississippi. Because while there are things that Ben Crump does that a lot of us don't agree with, people were in their feelings the other day because I did a live on Instagram, and I'm going to post it here on YouTube, where I said that I felt like there was some grifting going on at the funeral because it turned into a press conference. And it feels like that's what this has turned into, was a press conference. That's not to discredit any of the work that Ben Crump is doing. That's not to discredit any of it. Okay? Because clearly he's doing his job, right? But I feel like that's what this was, a smoke out. because there's no way you're going to tell me that. And he never said the lungs were missing too. He never said that. He only said that the throat was missing. Now, I can get a copy of that report. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read it for myself with y'all. But he never spoke on the lungs. He never spoke on the lungs. We were waiting for him to speak on the lungs. He never spoke on the lungs. What were the contents of the stomach? Now, they said that at the second, he said the throat was missing. I'll go back and listen to it again. I'll go back and listen to it again, but I heard the interior of the throat was missing. I didn't hear lungs. And maybe I tuned out because I was struggling to stay with him. I didn't hear nothing about the stomach. I didn't hear nothing about the heart. I didn't hear nothing about the liver. I didn't hear nothing about the kidneys. I didn't hear nothing about the internal organs that were there. Stomach contents, I don't know. It was after number 6. So you're looking at, what was that on the report? I don't know. Some people have been elsewhere as well. So I don't know. I don't know. Because, you know, I'm not the only one that's doing this. Right. I didn't hear about the eyes. I didn't hear about any of the internal organs at all. So for me, it's giving, he's holding back some information while being transparent enough with the public, but we still don't have an answer. We don't have a definitive answer as to what is that marking in the back of his head. Because the skull was not fractured. So if the skull was not fractured, was he hit in the back of the head? Because at first that's what I'm thinking. But the medical examiner is saying that they can't determine that. How can you not determine whether or not he was hit in the back of the head? I wasn't talking through the whole thing though, darling. I wasn't talking through the whole thing. And the only thing I was saying was, where are the lungs? But either way, we still know nothing. What I don't understand is, if he's explaining that the interior of the throat was taken for it to be investigated, is Mississippi not done with their investigation? Can they not forward their findings or forward the interior of the throat to him? Like, I don't understand. It's not clicking for me. I'm sorry. It's not registering. Also, the second autopsy is where they did the dissecting of the face, the back, the torso, the limbs. They dissected those areas of the body to try to determine whether or not there was any bruising done to the body, so that they could rule out any foul play. But at the end of this, it says it does not rule out any foul play, but it doesn't rule out anything. It still doesn't rule out anything. And if the lungs are missing, where the hell are the lungs? This, I don't know. Let's return to the programming.
Please announce your name and your media outlet if you have any questions. We're going to be quick because we have other programming going on in real time. We'll go here first.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Samantha Chapman, ABC7 Chicago. You just unveiled a comprehensive outline of the independent report. Can you summarize for our viewers? Because there's a lot to take in, a lot of information. So in summary, can you succinctly tell us what we can take away from this report? And also, if you can provide more details about the neck.
Yep.
I heard a lot of people behind me gasping when that detail was mentioned.
Yep. Let me try to be very comprehensive. As Dr. Roger Mitchell said that the focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region, is significant because he cannot determine why you have that red discoloration in the back of his brain. That's significant. He also talked about.
Hold on.
Mr.
The back of his brain or his head? I'm confusion now.
Williams, if you could. Just the fact that as it's common practice, he was missing his throat when they received the body. And he wants to know why they held it back. He's not drawing any conclusions, but he said he would want to examine it if there were neck fractures or compressions to the neck. And he thinks that's significant to know at autopsy. The reason he said he would hold it back when he was medical examiner because he thought that there may have been some issues with neck fractures. The last thing that is significant is what we said before about him, the condition of his body when he went into the water. Was he conscious or unconscious? Was he forced or unforced into the water? He said those things are very significant. But he started off talking about this red discoloration in the back of his head is something that was of great concern to him. Thank you. Trayvon.
We'll go here.
Daryl Denard with Chicago Speaks on V103. What specifically are you calling for from Mississippi authorities in terms of transparency, but more importantly, investigations?
I know President Johnson is from the state of Mississippi, and the Mississippi Conference president is here. They're calling, as we are, for a fair, impartial, comprehensive investigation. When Nolan's parents heard the sheriff say there's no foul play at the beginning of the investigation, that is cause for concern, major concern.
I agree.
Haven't even investigated, but you're saying no foul play.
Right.
And so we want them to dot every I and cross every T. You know, we had a meeting with the district attorney, and we expressed to them about our lived experiences. The fact, and you know, they said that's not what happens in her office, but we said we believe if the roles were reversed and there were 3 young black 18-year-olds and there was a white 18-year-old who was with them and he ended up dead, we don't believe that those young black men would not have been interrogated to the full extent of the law. We believe that it would not have been a choice whether they were going to cooperate with law enforcement if their lawyers and them were going to cooperate. No, they would have been held until they gave answers. They would have been held until they explained the cell phone in their possession. They would have been held until their cell phones have been examined. And so whatever you would do, had the roles been reversed, we want you to do the same thing for Nolan Wells.
We have time for one more question, and then we're going to have a prayer with our Religious Affairs Committee with the family. One more question here. What's this there?
I'm Tiffany Walden with the Tribe in Chicago. I know that we're talking about a transparent investigation, but for families and people who are watching, can you kind of give a breakdown or a timeline to the best of your ability of the contact that you've had with Mississippi authorities or Ocean Springs authorities or the Cajun Navy? Have you all talked to them? Do they call you after the initial autopsy? Is it just radio silence from them? Do you have to call them? Can you kind of walk us through that process?
So the last time we actually spoke with local authorities, which would be the sheriff's department, was I think a day or two after his body was found. That was only initiated by me. I sent him a text message. I was like, hey, this is Christine, Nolan's mom. I just want to see if there are any updates. Basically, he called back. There were no updates. He's like, we're still interviewing. And again, my concern, and also my husband's concern, was it was not even an hour that his body had been removed. And the sheriff came out and said, this is, accidental drowning. We don't think there's foul play. Again, that is why we're doing what we're doing and why we're moving the way we are. Because I sat there and asked them, please take this case as if this is your child, your family member, your whatever. And they promised that they would, but when you make statements like that straight out the gate, that's an issue. We did meet with the DA. She did promise, transparency and all of this, all of that. However, damage has already been done, because now that's the narrative that's being pushed by the general public, who again, know nothing really, only what they're hearing from other people. So in addition to that, it's all these things coming up. And at the end of the day, like I said before, any parent that would be in this situation, you would do anything to find out what happened to your child. And that is what we're here to do.
It is very important to note that this narrative, this suggestion that it was an accidental drowning, nothing to see here, is troubling, even if that's the case. There were 300 to 400 people out on Horns Island. You mean to tell me nobody saw anything? Nobody can tell us anything about what happened to one of the few black people that were out there on that island that day? It just doesn't add up. The fact that they're saying Nolan said that he would stay behind, but yet an 18-year-old kid would not want his cell phone if he was going to stay behind. The fact that, you have the young lady saying that he said he was going to get back on the boat with the boys, and then the boys saying no, he said he was going to stay behind and talk to her. If that was the case, don't you believe Nolan would have said, give me my cell phone, I'm going to stay behind. Give me my car keys, I'm going to stay behind. It's not adding up. And so we're going to keep fighting and digging until we get the answers, the transparency, the truth, the accountability, and justice for Nolan Wells. 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 Justice for Nolan Wells.
Justice for Nolan Wells.
Justice for Nolan Wells.
Justice for Nolan Wells. We're going to have our Religious Affairs Committee join us quickly so we can have a quick word of prayer with the family, and that will conclude our press conference formally.
Okay, you guys. So let's go over it for ourselves. I do have a copy of, screenshots of the preliminary report. Hold on. Get that up here, up on the screen for y'all. Okay. So these are the screenshots that have been sent to me. We're going to read through some of this for ourselves and kind of try to piece this thing together a little bit better. Thank you to Attorney Crump for doing what he's doing when it comes down to this case. When I have a chance, I will get the actual autopsy. But for now, all right. So we're looking for ourselves. All right. He did speak about, the body being received, focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head. So it's in the back of his head. I don't know. I don't understand this. I feel like a cat and mouse game is being played right now between Mississippi and Ben Crump. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Because Mississippi, from the onset, like they said, has not been transparent, already ruled this out as some type of accident, already said there was no foul play, already, right? That's not cool. You're not supposed to do that, okay? But I do see the cat and mouse game that is being played, because it's like, okay, if you're not going to come out with your stuff, then we're going to come out with this, but we're going to give a little bit of information, but not all of the information. So I have to say, I believe that this was smart. I believe that this was tactical. Okay? Because we're not going to tell you what we found, but we're going to give you just enough to know that we know. All right? So, we already know that and what makes me say that this is the cat and mouse game is because it doesn't, my brain says does not compute when a medical examiner who is a seasoned professional, comes out and says that the cause of death is undetermined pending investigation. The manner of death is undetermined pending investigation. That doesn't judge too well with me. Hold on. Give me 1 second, you guys, please. Okay, what's up, dog?
Hey, listen, I'm calling you to ask you what were your 3 to 5 biggest takeaways from that press conference about Nolan Wells' independent autopsy. I called to ask you your opinion, but I would like for you to give me the opportunity to present you my opinions first, or my observations.
Well, okay, so you know that I'm live. Everybody who doesn't know, this is Dogface Coloron, the most dangerous voice on the internet and around the world. So we're going live. When we going live? Tonight?
It's tonight, 8 p.m.
Tonight at 8 p.m. we will be live together. But my biggest takeaways from this, number one, I feel like this is a smoke out for Mississippi. Number two, the throat. Number three, the bruising to the back of the head. I feel like they're giving us enough to say they're on the job, but I don't feel like they're giving us everything, because Mississippi ain't dropped that autopsy or their preliminary reports either. So I don't feel like they're trying to give anything to Mississippi. And the things they did give is putting a fire to their ass to answer those questions. What did you find? Did you see this red mark in the back of his head? What's going on with his throat? They gave us things to question. What's your takeaways?
This is Mississippian. Hey, listen. First of all, they said this was a publicity stunt. You give us an independent autopsy without giving us any key factors except what we already presumed that was going to be the truth to begin with. Mississippi, they sent you a body. Did we answer the question? Did the body arrive in D.C. face down? That was one of the biggest things that was alleged to have happened. Were there any indications that when you got the body, was it face down? Was there anything out of the ordinary in terms of where the body was packaged and where the body was shipped? That's one. Number two, my biggest takeaway from this whole thing, to be quite honest, is this. You sent the body for an independent medical examination minus the organs that start the whole conversation. We're talking about, nobody has said that he was drowned. We're assuming that he drowned because he was found face down. Right? I don't like the fact that the people who are talking here are not saying that this guy was fully clothed. He was fully clothed when they found Nolan. He wasn't in his same swim trunks that all the infamous pictures have shown us that he was in. He was fully clothed in an area that was already searched on Horn Island. There's so many different things, but let's just stay with the autopsy. Hey, listen, you stripped the body minus the organs.
The organs were there. They were only missing the throat. And people are saying that he said the lungs, but I'm looking and I don't see any reporting on the lungs at all.
So listen, so here's the question. The throat is significant if we're talking about drowning.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you drown, I don't know how many people are swimmers, but if you drown, there are two things you're looking for. Once you start, so in the questions of an investigation such as this, if you were killed before you were placed in the water, your throat would be significant because it would be. It's salt water we talked about here. This is salt water.
Mm-hmm.
So your throat, your larynx, all of that, your trachea, all those things would have been inflamed by salt water because he had digested it, right? That's number one. Number two, the lungs. There was no significant conversation about the fluid being found in the lungs. We know that when you drown because you digest or ingest water, whether it is natural water or salt water. There was nothing that really talked about the lungs in any specific detail. That should have been a focal point of what's been. Now the whole report is the whole report.
But they also never talked about the stomach either, because water would be in the stomach. That's why I said I think this is smoking out Mississippi. I do.
You're giving these niggas too much credit. No, you're giving these niggas.
I'm giving them too much credit. What I will say is,
smoke out Mississippi.
Well, here's the thing. Everything that's been done has been a press conference. I've already said that. People are pissed with me. I don't care. The funeral was turned into a press conference. This autopsy was turned into a press conference. They didn't really give us anything. And they didn't speak on when they go, because I'm looking at the screenshots that was sent to me, right? And we don't hear anything about the organs. That's what I was just telling people. We don't hear about no organs. We don't hear about the liver. We don't hear about the kidney. We don't hear about anything. We really didn't get much of anything out of this autopsy at all.
And that's my point. So we didn't get much out of the autopsy. That means that the reason why the press conference was held to begin with, we didn't get much out of that. Hey, listen, here's my key takeaways. One,
don't give away too much. We still got to go live.
We're going to go live. Ben Crump, it is time for you to either retire, my dear sir, or it is time for you to take on a staff of people who can speak for you. Because in the world that we're living in now, in the times that we're living in now, brother, all that motherfucking neck bone country ass talking, mispronunciating ass words shit you doing, hell no. Hell no. Hell to the fuck no. Now listen, if we in trial and you giving closing statements and opening statements, Ben Crump is one of the richest black attorneys in this country. Brother, you're not supposed to be tackling this part of the press conference. You're never supposed to get up and read a motherfucking independent autopsy report to the general public. You're never supposed to do that. Because even though you have a brilliant mind, my dear soul, you're not the most articulate motherfucker on the face of this goddamn earth. Which leads me to another question. How the fuck did you ever get to where you are? All I saw is Ben Crump. This nigga is like an ambulance chaser, bro. And respectfully, this nigga is like a old ass civil rights motherfucker, bro, which is where he comes from.
Right.
That style of how he handles things, right? It should have been crisper. It should have been more detailed. It should have been less on the civil rights hoping and hollering Al Sharpton shit and more on just presenting the facts. And then at the end of it, you turn it into something else. I get it. You want to use this opportunity because you have the whole world's attention. You want to use this opportunity to shine light on other cases that are unsolved in Mississippi and elsewhere. I get it. I don't have a problem with that. But when you're saying things like, listen, the body was transported without the neck. This whole investigation starts with the throat because it was a matter, it's suggested. Nobody said he drowned, but it is suggested that he drowned because his body was found face down and submerged in water. So that's where the whole suggestion of drowning comes from. We are saying and we believe that it was a cover-up. The only reason we talked about blunt force trauma or possible redness in the back of the neck, we're talking about that because the whole world believes that he was killed and then let him placed back in the water.
Right.
We believe that. So if you're not going to answer questions that directly go to that or speak to that, what the fuck are we doing here? Once you said, listen, the press conference should have been, I would never go, listen, I'm going to start with this. Hey, listen, I'm not even going to read this report because the press conference would have been, we can't do our jobs because we have not been supplied with the entire body.
But hold on, wait a minute. Let me bring something to your attention that I'm looking at, because I'm looking at the toxicology. I'm looking at the preliminary report. When we get to toxicology, he said they're waiting on the toxicology report, but on the screenshot I'm looking at, it says toxicology not performed.
Not performed by him.
Right.
Because he said it would be a waste of time for him to have performed because too much time had went by from the time that he received the body to the time the body was actually found.
No, so but we were told that they're waiting on the toxicology report, but it says it wasn't. So if they're waiting on Mississippi, here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. If we're waiting on Mississippi and we're doing an independent autopsy, why aren't we? Even regardless to what, you still should be able to find something in his system if there's something in his system. Okay, well, that's one. Two, what I will say is what we did get from this is that it did debunk that whole shit about him being face down and burned and all of that. The body was not burned. So you could kill that narrative. What I'm mad about, and I'm going to tell you because I'm with you, what I'm pissed about is all of these viral stories that now make it into the narrative without any type of clarification, investigation, any type of stuff is making it into where now it's becoming hard to tell what's fact and fiction. We don't know what's the truth anymore because every day is something new being added. And then when you add that into your speeches, when you add that to your page, when you are somebody who people are going to be a credible source of information, that's irresponsible. That's irresponsible because now you're telling us the second autopsy report, they dissected his whole body from his face down to his legs. Because of the decomposition, they could not tell if the body had any bruising. There was nothing that came back that showed that there was any type of bruising, yet there was a talk about a pool party that came out of his mouth because it was viral online. That's the shit I can't get with as well. So I'm with you when you're right. But I really don't, outside of trying to smoke them out to make them put out their stuff or try to keep them in line, I can't understand why we had this preliminary report because we really didn't get anything out of it. And I was getting ready to read it so I could try to see, well, what else is going on that he skipped.
And listen, the entire time I was saying to myself, send me the fucking report so I can read it for my goddamn self. I know this shit. Listen, 10 seconds in, when you started reading this shit, bro, come on, it's like being in the classroom in the 6th grade and the teacher asks little Bobby to read and little Bobby can't, he can't read aloud. So you were aggravated. So you just say, hey, teacher, I'll read it for this stupid ass nigga. That's number one. I was aggravated 10 seconds into the shit after he started reading because I already talked about history. We know you can't read, nigga. We know you can read, but you're not a good orator of what you're reading. You don't transfer what's on the paper to your mouth, to words, to out loud properly. And communication is not just about the information that's there. Communication is about being able to effectively articulate and communicate what it is you're reading so that the people you're reading to can understand it without any need of further interpretation. That's one. Number two, man, let me tell you something, bro. You said something that just made me mad as a motherfucker.
What I say?
Anytime you say you're waiting on Mississippi to do anything, we need clear transparency. Hey, listen, this is the South we talked about. And the people who run the South, they don't give a fuck what you think about what they do. They don't give a fuck about what decisions you make. Do you think it was a coincidence that the body had been transported minus the fucking throat?
No.
That was not a coincidence. So
I don't.
Right there. Listen, before they came to the podium, talk about being ineffective in terms of being able to properly communicate what it is you want us to believe about this whole thing now, based on having forensic science help tell the story. The first thing that come out your motherfucking mouth is, here's a red herring for you. We came here to reveal the results of our independent autopsy conducted by Dr. Bing 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 Mitchell. Right?
Mm-hmm.
However, because of things that we have discovered, right? After talking to Dr. Mitchell, I feel like it would be a travesty. I feel like it would be an insult to the people who've been following the story to even read it outside of telling you guys this. This is the major takeaway. One of the first things that we look at is the head. We're looking for because there is suspicions that because listen, a medical examiner, he takes a report from the police. He takes a report from the investigators that really describe what they think took place. We need the reports from the sheriff's department. We need reports from the Coast Guard because what they say, even though a medical examiner looks for everything, but like you just said, the initial medical examiner didn't even cut the boy open in certain ways that the independent Dr. Mitchell did. Right? Dr. Mitchell, he cut the boy totally open because he knew, and they told him because they paid for it. He was guided to look for certain things. They told him to look for every goddamn thing. If he had a cold, look for everything. What we need to know is what was the Mississippi medical examiner? What was she looking for? Because if you didn't cut this boy open to look for all the different things that the independent guy did, then that means what you took his throat out though. And then you failed to transport his throat. Talking about that shit is just as suspicious as these white boys lawyering up before the body was even found, before the body was even discovered. Because what the fuck are you lawyering up for?
Facts.
Right? That's just as suspicious as the fucking Jethro Bodine hillbilly ass sheriff saying no foul play here. How the fuck can you say no foul play when you haven't even interviewed the significant parties that are involved with this potential situation? With this obvious situation, right? It's all this shit is a premature ejaculation. This shit was. Listen, you coming to us, giving us. We leaving with what?
Nothing.
All we're leaving with more suspicion of the state of Mississippi from the local law enforcement to the DA's office. To all these judges who are the step parents and all these medical, and all the way up to the fucking medical examiner, right? And my thing is this, Henny, if you're waiting for the state of Mississippi to be forthcoming, to be open and to be candid about matters like this, where at the same time we're saying that we have never gotten justice for Mississippi.
Right.
If you're waiting for them to give you something, right? You're going to be a waiting motherfucker there. They didn't give you the throat for a reason. Oh, I forgot to send the throat. Sorry, Bobby. And then when you're doing the independent investigation, why isn't the independent medical examiner? Why isn't he communicating? Where is the evidence? I called Mississippi and said, hey, Ms. Turner, I have Nolan Wells' body. He remains here. We don't have the throat. Can you put him in the cooler and ship him over?
Right. That's what I said. I said, well, why wasn't it shipped out? Why are we not asking for it to be sent to us? Because they're saying in the report that it's not common in order for them to rule out strangulation. But we need to know the throat, the lungs, the stomach. Was there water in his lungs, throat, and stomach? What I'm not buying and was pissing me off, I'm just being honest. How are you, a professional medical examiner who has credentials, who has years in doing this, and you're telling us that you have no time of death? You can't give us a time of death. Okay, you saying you can't give us a cause of death because you're missing the throat and all of that, but you can't give us a time of death? You should be able to determine that based off of your professional expertise as to when Nolan died.
Well, and listen, Henning, I'm not going to charge him to that because you have to understand, when you get the initial time of death, the time of death, that shit is determined depending on when you got the body after it was deceased, right? You are getting partially decomposed remains. So because you're getting partially decomposed remains, it makes it almost near next to impossible.
Now you giving them an excuse. You giving them an excuse. You are, because this is your job. This is your job. You should be able to determine that.
No. I disagree, and here's why. From a scientific point of view, he got the decomposed remains of a body that had been dead for the better part of 2 weeks. A body that has
No, they received that body on July 10th. No, it wasn't 2 weeks.
July 10th to July 4th.
He was found on July 6th. Mississippi conducted their autopsy and completed on the 7th. The independent autopsy guy received the body on July 10th.
It was found on July 6th, right?
Mm-hmm.
What he died before July 6th. So at the point of his death, which is probably around July 4th to be exact, at the point that he was found at his death, by the time they got him, don't forget, that's not when he died.
It had been a week.
Presumably, it had been a week. So listen, so what I'm saying is this. By the time they received that body in Washington, D.C., right, by the examiner Mitchell, right, he didn't perform the autopsy the same day. Look at the report.
No, he didn't.
Right. So so we're talking about lapse of time here. When he was found.
There are people that are able to determine cause of death on a body, time of death, and cause of death on bodies that are found decomposed inside of homes, decomposed out in the world. They can give you a time of death. He could tell you if the body has been deceased based on decomposition, including the autopsy report. He can tell you. It's his job to know based off of decomposition, when did this body expire? And he's telling us that he can't give us that.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. And I'm telling you why. Because there is a forensic pathologist. He can tell you, okay, they can give you a roundabout based on when you examine deterioration, when you look at all the other factors. The other factors are the police report. How was the body found? Where was the body found? What the condition was? There are clues that you give a medical examiner when there's nothing, when there's no foul play, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are forthcoming. Hey, here's what we found. Here are the circumstances surrounding the death. Here's what we know. Not who done it, but what we found when we found him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you factor in what people are saying, what the official police reports of the initial police reports are saying. The medical examiner takes all that shit into consideration. What I'm saying is, the forensic pathologist, they can give you a roundabout estimate of when somebody died, but I don't think you can do that almost 10 days after the body is found. You can say, okay, listen, based on the amount of deterioration here, based on the amount of decomposition, right? Then I can roughly estimate this person has been dead for between 10 days and 14 days, or between 10 days and 21 days, and they can give you a roundabout estimation. But there's so many things, like you articulated, that we don't have. The toxicology report. Hey, listen. How can you proceed to do an independent autopsy based on all the factors that exist, and you don't have the pieces of the throat? Where is the communication that you call this bitch and say, hey, bitch, where's the throat? Hey, bitch, where's your toxicology report findings? It takes 10 minutes for a motherfucker to determine if you got drugs in your system. The body ain't got no blood in it no more. Toxicology report comes from blood.
Yeah.
The toxicology report comes from blood.
Not just blood. They can also test the liver and other organs to find out if there was anything in the system too.
Where is that in there? Where is that?
There is none in there. They didn't talk about that. They did not talk about it.
Yeah, well, the whole thing, here's two things. Ben Crump, as a lawyer, even during the O.J. Simpson trial, and I'll bring this up for a point of reference.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny Cochran, he questioned the witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
He cross-examined the witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Johnny Cochran didn't do everything, right? Ben Crump, you're not, at this stage of your career, dare I say, if ever, in the world that we live in, the fast-paced media world we live in now, we know that media doesn't govern law enforcement, but you're trying to sell a narrative, or not sell a narrative, excuse me, pardon me. You're trying to present a story about what's going on and about what happened. If you're not able to effectively articulate what the fuck is going on, right? Then you need to get one of your underlings who is more sharp-tongued than you to be able to go over and cover this shit. Ben Crump, you should have never read that fucking report. We're only there. We're not there to hear your pomp and circumstance, nigga. We're there to hear what the fuck that report said. We're not there to hear you going on motherfucking long diatribe like you fucking Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, bro. Miss us with that shit. Because the first thing the world has already been saying is, you guys, you're chasing some shit here. And then you're using your oratory, you're using your whole I'm a reverend ass shit. You're trying to influence how we thinking. No, nigga, give us the facts only. Listen to the rest of that shit. You can add to it what you add to it, but when you read this motherfucking independent autopsy report, give us the facts in a way that is easy for us to understand what the fuck is going on here. All this rumbling and bumbling and mispronunciation words, man, get your ass somewhere. I'm sick and tired of that nigga at this point.
And I'm with you. I'm with you.
I just want to stop by and cover this yesterday, man. When we talk, when we have our show later on today, I'll be more calm and I'll be more direct. But my takeaway is, Ben Crump, sit your ass down, right? You're not telling us, is anybody in the Henny gang surprised that body was missing some key things that we needed in order to ascertain what happened?
I don't believe so. Because we are all sitting here like, what the, like, okay. So at the end of the day, no. And you know, it's a lot that we have to talk about later on. I'm gonna send you this in the email so you can see it for yourself. And you know, read what wasn't read and get an understanding, or read it for yourself so you could get an understanding. I do agree with you though. I do feel like, okay, the doctor who performed the autopsy was not available. You should have had a doctor, a person who was a part of his team to come out here and explain these things to us instead of just reading the report, because people were struggling to keep up. I'm being honest. People were struggling. I was struggling to keep up.
I hear you. And listen, on top of that, before I go, hey, listen, you just said it. It doesn't even have to be the person who mysteriously is not available. What the fuck are you talking about? The whole premise of this shit is to hear from a medical professional, not you, nigga. What are you doing? And like you just said, if he wasn't available, there is certainly somebody in his staff. Or there's somebody who works there's some forensic pathologist, there's some lawyer who specializes in matters of forensic pathology who could have read it and then could have answered questions after it's over with. Right? Ben Crump, how in the fuck can you answer questions in a matter of medical science, bro? You can't. All you can give us is social rhetoric, bro.
That part.
There should have been a press conference. Well, what does this mean? What does that mean? Well, under what circumstances does a body get transported without how often does that happen?
And how do you not have the preliminary report from the first findings to compare to the second autopsy? There's things that's missing here. We can't deny that. Besides organs, there's things that's missing here. Because you should have had a report and pictures from Mississippi from their autopsy to right along with you into your independent autopsy. So the things that you could not see or could not, because even here it says because of initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and lungs of for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. So because of the initial autopsy, they're saying if there was water, basically this is how I'm seeing it. And I could be wrong because I ain't no autopsy person. But it sounds to me like, well, because they've already done their autopsy and they've cut open the stomach and they've cut open the lungs, we have no way of knowing if there was water in the lungs, because if you cut it open and there was water present, that water is going to come out. It ain't like they're going to say, oh, well, let's suck this water up and put it back in the organs and stitch it up and send it. So you don't have... That tells me right there that they do not have a preliminary report or any of the findings that Mississippi had for this autopsy. And those are important factors.
Listen, before you came to the public to address this whole thing, what you were supposed to do is, versus just leaving us with a cliffhanger like days of our lives, bro. What you're supposed to do is just also present us with the request from Dr. Mitchell when he contacted Mississippi and asked for these additional things that were not transported with the body originally. We want to have answers to that. Where is the throat, bitch? Where is the throat? Where is the stomach contents that going to be put in a bag or put in a cylinder that will preserve them from further deterioration?
This is what I'm saying.
Because when you take brain out, when you take organs out, they don't just leave them to dry up, bro. They put them in a solution that would suspend them from further deterioration.
Yep. You right about that.
Where is this shit? Show us the communication. Hey, did Dr. Mitchell reach out to Mississippi and ask for these things? Hey, the throat gone. Where is it? Can we get that? Can you overnight that to us?
It doesn't sound like it because it's saying, assumingly, there's assumptions that are being made as to, just like he said, it's routine for this in a case of this. No, why? No, you don't have a direct answer as to why they kept the interior of his throat. You're assuming why they kept it. You don't have a direct answer as to why they kept it. You don't even know. And now, like I just said, I just read the part about the airway, the lungs, and the stomach. You don't have their report. So there's a lot of information that was not shared and was allowed to not be shared, in my humblest of opinions. So yeah, we've got a lot. We've got a lot to talk about.
Right, I'll see you at 8 o'clock.
Yes, thank you for stopping in, doggy. You know how we do.
Thank you.
All right, see you later. That's my big bro dog face, okay? Yeah, so there's really no need, now that we done had the conversation, there's really no need for me to go through any of this. The organs were not missing. The throat was missing. One part of his body was missing. It does not say that the lungs were missing. I already see narratives creating. It says it right there, that it was due to the limitations, due to the initial autopsy, rightfully removed and dissected each organ. Now, here's the thing. People are in uproar because you're hearing that, oh, the organs were taken out. The organs have to be taken out in order for them to do an autopsy. They have to weigh them. They have to dissect them. But they put the lungs back into the body cavity instead of putting them in the bags that they normally do. It was explained. But the lungs were put back into the cavity and shipped with Nolan's body. What they're missing is the interior of the throat. Now, the forensic pathologist that did the independent autopsy is saying that the reason why he's assuming, based off of his experiences and years, is because they're looking for any signs of strangulation. Well, you don't have that information yet. You don't have that organ yet. Did y'all get it back? Is it still in Mississippi? Because Nolan is already buried. But this also explains, for those people who wanted to see an open casket, why there was no open casket, because they dissected him. You said the second autopsy was a waste. Everything wasn't turned over for the second autopsy. Well, they didn't get, from what we've heard, they didn't get photographs. They didn't get a report. They didn't get anything with that body. They just got the body. And that's disturbing. But again, me and Dog, we don't agree on this. But I do feel like this is a cat and mouse game that's being played right now. I done showed this. Now, what you gonna show? You see what I'm saying? What I can say is that narrative, those two girls that came out, remember them two girls that came out and said Nolan's body was face down and that's disrespectful and they beat his body and set it on fire? Didn't I tell y'all that was bullshit? I told y'all that was bullshit, and that's why I didn't even cover it. There's no mention of his body being burned. Because of all of these rumors online, they dissected Nolan's body from head to toe. They dissected his face to look into the deep tissue. Okay, let me see if I can find that and put that up on the screen and highlight it really quickly for y'all, because they dissected his whole body. Structure of the trachea. Okay. Okay. The retention of the anterior neck structure during the initial autopsy is common forensic pathology practice. Okay, so the retention of the neck part that they had, he said, is common. Nevertheless, a posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structure is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out an injury to the neck as a contributor to the cause of death. Doesn't know the conditions, okay. Let's see. These findings are inconclusive. Okay, so as for the mark in the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection, revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration in the deep soft tissue overlying the optical bone. Okay, so back here, right? The etiology, I don't know how to say that word, of the finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the underlining skin or fracture of the underlining skull. I'm going to read that again. There are no lacerations of the underlining skin nor fractures of the underlining skull. But it goes on to say these findings are inconclusive for perimortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition and the absence of associated injuries. These findings, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in the preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that this finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissections were not performed. So they did not perform a dissection of that area because it wouldn't have been seen. So what this is making me think is like how when a body sits, blood pools. It could be that the blood pooled in the back of the head from him laying for so long. Maybe it's blood pooling, and that's why. I don't know. He doesn't say. I am not an expert in this. I just know a couple things because I watch murder programs about the blood pooling in certain areas of the body. I don't know. Okay. Right here. The second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompositional changes. Marked decomposition can obscure the presence or absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during the second autopsy examination. For this reason, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. This procedure included facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, the pelvic dissection, subcutaneous and deep soft tissue dissection of the back, buttocks, arms, and legs. There were no fractures or deep bruising injuries identified. So they dissected his face and everything to look for bruising and fractures, and they did not find any. So Nolan was not beat up at no pool party. Okay? Nolan was not beat up. Based off of what we got. What we got was some stuff that debunks. Oh, thank you so much, Cat Nose. Thank you so much. Welcome to the bar. Appreciate you. They got the body on the 10th after autopsy 1, then packed up and flown to the second medical examiner's office. Yeah, that's a lot on the body. It is a lot on the body. That's why I said maybe the head, it could be blood pooling because he was laying all that time. You got to think from the time they found his body on the 6th to the time that he was buried, Nolan was laying flat on his back. During the autopsy in Mississippi, first, he sat at the medical examiner's office from the 6th till they did the examination. And then the body was turned over to the family on the 7th. The body was traveling the 8th, the 9th. They received it on the 10th. And then they did their autopsy on him probably the next day. I'll look and see what the date is. But he was laying on his back all of that time. So anything, they're not saying, they said there was no fractures or injuries to his head where that marking was. See, my thing is when it comes down to this case, y'all want to know what pisses me off? People don't pay attention to what's being said. They listen to react and not listen to understand. Not y'all, I'm just saying people in general. Listen to understand and then they run with it. Oh, his organs were missing. No, his organs were not missing. We just read that. His organs were not missing. The portion of the throat was missing. But they could not determine water in his lungs or in his stomach because there had already been an autopsy that was performed. The contents of his stomach was not shipped. They don't know what they found in his stomach because they don't have the preliminary report from Mississippi. Okay? This is why I don't jump on every little thing that comes out and give it light. Give it traction, give it motion. And that's why a lot of people don't like me. But I really don't care. I'm just going to give y'all the truth as I see it. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But either way, I'm always honest with y'all. So again, we really don't know anything. We really did not learn anything from this, except for there's a lot of lies going around that were given some movement on social media. That's what we know. That's what we know. Nosy. You're nosy. That's how you say it, nosy. Cat nosy. I just realized your name, Cat Nosy. Wouldn't the blood have drained from the first autopsy? I don't know. You know, I don't know what I've never done an autopsy. Maybe in the members, we could sit and watch an autopsy be performed so that we could understand the full totality of what goes into an autopsy. I'm not a forensic pathologist, so I don't know. But one thing, like I said, another thing that me and Doggy don't agree on is I feel like they still should have been able to give you a determined, estimated time of death. There's nothing. So it is more questions than answers. It is more stories to feed the internet, so to speak. The internet is a beast and it's going to keep on interneting. But we're going to close this out. Now, before we got into any of this, before we got into the press conference and, the autopsy preliminary report and all of that, we were watching Warren. Close all tabs. Thank you. We were watching We were watching Warren do his interview with Officer Tatum. Now, I am not a fan of Officer Tatum's like that. I'm not going to be like nice. I'm not a fan of his. Okay, so I ended up getting the I do have the PDF to the autopsy. Okay. Thank you, Henny Legal. I appreciate y'all so very much. Y'all be on the job, man. Also, we got to talk about David, y'all. David is having his preliminary hearings. So, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. All right, let me get myself off of here and move myself around on the screen. I'll put myself there. Yeah, I'll put myself there. And we're going to continue on with listening to Warren's account of things. Now, Warren has said quite a few things that already had us side-eyeing, like the whole mention of him continually saying his friends, Nolan and his friends. Okay, we've already pointed out that it's sounding very similar. All of the accounts, Trayston's story, even Javon's story, they all are sounding very similar in tone and context. Okay, so let's get back into it.
Together, did you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay.
I do too.
You know, being from the Gulf Coast, there's a boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, you know, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And he was, I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. Very, very common. That's what we like to do. My friends like to fish also, and like to go on the boat, not just fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on sunset cruises. Like,
he keeps saying, my friends, my friends, my friends, my friends. It really disturbs the hell out of me that he keeps saying that. So was Nolan separate from his friends? You said sad part won't be the last. It's a new trend in the YouTube in the white community. Listen, spiritual realm works different and it hits hard. It might not get that person, yet it's coming, kids, family, it's coming. Evil is that was done to people, boomerang. Hey, Mel said this is a shame what they did in this case. I am agreeing with you. Matter of fact, when I get off of this live, I'm gonna, because I know you probably can't jump up, but I'm gonna call you when I get off of here, because you know you're a person I like to bounce ideas off of, thoughts off of when it comes down to these cases. But I 1000% agree with you that it is a shame what's being done in this case, period.
just like to do it all, you know, on the water, you know. And I mean, Nolan loved to do that too. I mean, he was not like he was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water and, you know, have a good time with the guys. And that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there. Like I said, like Nolan was always trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us. And he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us. And but started 4th of July, you know, my buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming, you know, everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal.
Very, very big deal. And I mean, I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house, and I woke up at.
So he was at Jack's house too. But I hear you, but at the same time, it's like I stayed the night at my buddy's house last night. Sir. So you were at Jax's house as well, Warren. So this makes it even more, it poses my question even more as to why Jax had the keys and Warren had the phone. Maybe they'll get into it. I don't know. He said this is part 1, so maybe there's a part 2. Well, obviously there's got to be a part 2 that's coming. But if you stayed the night at Jack's house, shut up, Henny. Let them talk. Okay, I'm because you know my wheels is turning. Them big wheels keep on turning right now.
My buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. Nolan was not with me, and I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy, and we went, topped the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach. And I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house. And
hold on, because Judge Ashley Cole, didn't she say that they had a boat? That Warren had a boat? And he's saying Wyatt had a boat. 2 boats that we know of. Warren, are you trying to tell us that you didn't take your boat out? So was that tidbit of information inaccurate? Did Warren's boat go? Let me shut up.
That's where we all planned to meet up that day. And
you say we all, who you talking about? You, Nolan, and how many people are going to meet you guys there?
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. It wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, we were
20 to 30 people. 20 to 30 people. Yeah, 20 to 30 people. We're on that boat. We're out there that they know of. 20 to 30 people. Now, let me pull this up really quickly, because I wouldn't be doing the Henny to this if I didn't do the Henny to this, okay? Let's pull up Judge Ashley Cole's statement, all right? Let's go to Judge Ashley Cole's statement. All right. She talks about deactivating 6 children circulating, graduating high school with Christine Wells Wansley, but we've never heard the mother confirm nor deny this accusation. My husband and I were not at Horn Island, okay? No one in our family was trying to all right. Law enforcement. Okay. No one in our family is trying in any way to impede in the investigation by law enforcement or to otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. Warren was interviewed by Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 when the boat was taking on water, and they had issues with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Stop. I was hearing people saying that she was saying that they left at 3 o'clock. She didn't say they left at 3 o'clock. She said Warren. So it's not even a they. It's not even a group of people that was on that boat with him. It's Warren's mom who says Warren last saw him at 3 o'clock. So Warren last saw Nolan at 3 o'clock and they left at 4:30. They who? Y'all left on Wyatt's boat? Let's continue to listen because I've got questions. So it was not 2 boats that went out there. It was 3. It was 3 boats that went out there that day. Yet we only have the GPS for 1 boat. Y'all gave us the GPS for the 1 boat that was towed and had some mechanical issues. And by the way, if you listen to what Cito said that they let me get it. Cito said they said they did not tow the boat, right? However, they didn't tow that boat because the boat already had received assistance. So where's that boat? Where is that person at? Where is that tow company at? Because this is what they said. Before assistance was rendered, the vessel owner advised that sea tow was no longer needed because help had already been obtained. Help had already been obtained by the time sea tow got there. Sea tow's involvement concluded at that point. So sea tow did not assist them. Who assisted them? Where they at? Where they at? See, I'm not going to read the first sentence and jump. I'm going to read the whole thing. Who assisted them and where's the GPS for them? Okay. And yes, I have to agree. I just seen a comment in a glance that said it was at least 3 to 4 boats out there. You are absolutely correct. Okay. There was at least 3 to 4 boats out there. 3 to 4. Because you also have to remember Trayston was out there. He just said 3 boats went out there. So there's the boat that Nolan was on. Then there's the boat that Javon was on. Then there's another boat out there somewhere. And then there's Trayston's boat. 4 boats. 3 to 4 boats out there.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys, and y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean, Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there. There were boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was 3 rows of boats all the way until my vision ended, until I could see of people there was 1 row of boats, and then there was another row of boats, and then there was a 3rd row of boats.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island.
Are y'all hearing this? All them people. Now, let me say this. You're right. Nobody said it was just those 4 on the island. Nobody said that. Just like it would be naive to think that if we're hearing all of this stuff about Horn Island, that there wasn't people out there. All these people, this is why I keep saying that and others keep saying it too. All these people, you're painting a picture of there being so many people out on the island that they are basically say this is the shore right here. Well, you know what? The microphone is the shore. You're saying there's boats lined up here, here, and here to the island, jam-packed as far as you can see. And nobody knows nothing, saw nothing, heard nothing. And all we're getting is speculation online. Who's talked to Ben Crump? Because I'm telling you right now, I got a feeling that it's people off the internet that's calling Ben Crump's phone and telling him, we found this video of Nolan, XYZ. Why are these people not speaking to the investigators for Ben Crump, for the family? Are they speaking to the private investigators? You're sitting down with Officer Tatum and doing an interview. You're not sitting down with anyone else. Is it because Officer Tatum came down there to Mississippi, made you feel real comfortable? And he promised not to ask the hard questions? I got questions.
To where, I mean, who knows? I mean, and that wasn't just, we were parked on the north side, on the west tip. It wasn't just there. I mean, there's tons of people packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't.
So now we've gone from that. It ain't 300 to 400 people now, Big Rage. Now it's 1,000 people. Y'all got to excuse me. My sciatica is really killing me right now. I might have to come off the camera, but now it's about 1,000 people out there. And I'm going to be honest with you, about 1,000 sounds more likely to me, especially for a July 4th holiday. And it sounds like it's a tradition. Okay. What happened? Who created a trial page? Oh, you must be talking to somebody in the chat. Okay. Because he could have simply done this on his channel or literally any channel, but he picks Uncle Rick. Because Officer is not on the black side. Sweetly.
Just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat. You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And
hold on.
I went with my buddy Bart.
You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton. On the
Did he say Wyatt's 22 Triton? Hold on. I can't find. Oh, there it is. You know, it's getting serious because what y'all hear wrestling around in the background is my handy dandy notebook. Okay. We about to take some notes here. Let's go over this together, shall we? Because I done heard a couple of things. All right. We're going to get our notes out. Let me turn this pen on. And let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this here that they talking about. All right. When they talking about what they talking. So Warren. All right. Warren says Wyatt's boat, the Palm Beach. I won't forget that, right? He says there was 1,000 people out there. He says Nolan rode on a different boat than him. Let me do this. Let me do this for us. Because I need to make sure I heard what I heard when I heard it. Okay. Let's scroll down here. Oh, you don't have a transcript, sir? Right here. Let's see what he said. Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton with my buddy Bart. So Wyatt had 2 boats out there. So this Palm Beach boat was driven by Warren. Okay. We got the 22 Triton. And he was out there with Bart. Have we missed anything? I don't think we've missed anything. I think we can continue. Oh, yes, we did. Hold on. We forgot to add something. Wyatt had 2 boats. On the water. Okay. We've been known that Warren rode on a different boat. Who is we? We didn't all know that. The boys with Nolan were Wyatt, Eric, Jackson, Morgan. That's not what he just said. He just said Nolan was on the boat with Bart. So we're going to find out who else. Exactly. He's separating himself from being with Nolan.
On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And
hold on.
On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming.
So on the way out, okay, on the way out, he went with Bart. Okay, so let me fix that. Let me fix that. On the way out, he rode with Bart. So you know what? I can guarantee you. How much y'all want to bet? Whatever. I hate when people come in here to troll. So I bet you any amount of money that's not the boat. You know good and damn well, CJ. You already know. So I bet you that ain't the boat that had the issues. We already know that. It don't take a rocket scientist or a genius.
Down and Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart, and a lot of the girls that go to college.
Hold on. He rode out there with Bart, but didn't. Oh, no. Okay. All right. Never mind. Shut up, Penny. So we have 3 boats that we can confirm based off of Wyatt's story that were on the water. You got the 2 from Wyatt, the Palm Beach, and the 22 Triton. And then you've got Bart's boat. What's the name of Bart's boat, Warren? You gonna tell us that?
With my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was probably ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
So let's go over here. Let's go through it. Okay. So he says there are easily 1,000 people. There was multiple people, probably 20, 30 getting on boats. Why it's 22 Triton. So he said 22 Triton, but then he gets down here. He says Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. So 18 Palm Beach. Make sure we got that. Okay. So there was, because we making notes. You know how we do. We take notes. So on this Palm Beach, okay, on the 18 Palm Beach. Okay. Anyway, that ain't even important. There's 8. Okay, so there was 4 guys on the Palm Beach. 4 passengers. Okay. The Triton had 8 or 9 people. So 8 to 9 passengers. Okay. The rest of the group ranged from maybe 10 to 15 to 16 people on my buddy Tide Line. Okay. So the name of that boat is Tide Line. Can we get records on the GPS of these 3 boats? Or of all of these boats? Whatever boat he mentions, pull the damn records on. Can we do that? Okay. And the Tide Line held majority of the people. All right. Because we're going to put that there was 10 to 16 passengers on the Tide Line. So right now, and the Tide Line is Bart's boat. All right. So I had said, so Warren had 2 boats on the water. Bart had 1 boat on the water. So that's 3. I said 4 a minute ago. I correct myself. That's 3 confirmed right there. And why I said 4 is because you got Trayston's boat that's out there too. So you got 3 so far that's with this group. And then you got Trayston's boat as well that's out there. Okay. All right, let's continue.
On my buddy's Tide Line, which is 24 Tide Line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because.
Oh shit! Sorry, y'all.
I mean, 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to see exactly what the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there.
Of course.
But I want you to tell, the audience like.
Mysterious. He said that it was just some random person that he had an argument with. He already said that it was some rando because he was arguing with his girlfriend and this person inserted themselves into the argument and he became irate with the person, so much so that they were trying to get him off of the island. Okay. Yeah, no, that little daddy or big daddy. Let me tell you something about that. The original person who posted that, the writing on the back of the boat, I could have swore it was red. And then all of a sudden came this picture that had a clear font on the back of it, clear text that said little daddy. I don't know about that. I don't talk about stuff that I can't sit up here and put facts behind. So, yeah. I don't know. We need to know if they trying to throw us off from thinking it was Nolan. I don't know. But it looks like that has died down. Ben Crump is no longer talking on that. It's not his talking point no more.
Like, what was this trip like,
And when you listen to it, when you put some headphones on and you listen to it and you listen to the interviews, it sounds like him. You got to have your headphones in. You're going to hear it sounds like his voice. I can't tell you exactly what he's saying. But it sounds like him, something about fucking boat with me. Fuck you, bro. That's what I heard.
How was the waters? Did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you get to the island? Was there music? Is it like a big party? Like what is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously music's blasting. It's 4th of July, man. I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, we had a lot of people loaded down. So obviously our biggest, we're just trying to make sure everybody, gets out there safe. And so, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm.
So you're making sure everybody gets out there safe, but what happened to everybody coming home? I'm just saying.
I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything all my buddies' boats couldn't handle, or like, it wasn't like we were getting really beat up or anything. I mean, it was pretty calm.
And so you guys get out there. I'm assuming that you line the boats up because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out there and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people. Yeah. So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island.
Of course not.
A few people. There's just thousands of people out there.
Right.
And
you're asking if the pool party, so is the pool party story true, or did they confirm that photo happened 45 minutes away in Pass Christian and on a different day? Now they say that the metadata showed that it was on June 27th. But we just listened to the preliminary autopsy report and I just read some of it because someone was able to get it for me. And in the autopsy report, they ruled out any beating to his body because they did dissect Nolan's body from head to toe, basically, in the second autopsy. I want to make sure that I stress that in the second autopsy, and they had to dissect his body to check for bruising because of the decomposition that happened in the body. So when they dissected and went in and investigated, they did not find any fractures or any bruising to his body. So that story about the pool, to me, 86th. The story about his body being beaten and burned, 86th. That was not mentioned in any of these preliminary findings. So those two stories in my eyes are debunked. They're not true, which makes me side-eye those girls. Like, why the hell did y'all come out and do that? I was already side-eyeing them. When the story came out, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe the pool party. I didn't believe the Alasia girl. And I did not believe the story about the girls talking about Nolan's body was mistreated. It is. Thank you for saying that, because that is great information. That's good to know, because it made people go into a really dark space. And I hate that people played like that online, but it's getting so complicated to tell what's real and not anymore out here. From the way he is talking, everybody that went out was his, but Nolan wasn't his buddy. From the way he's talking, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The way he keeps saying my friends, my buddy. Like, did they not have an association to Nolan? So who was Nolan on the water with? You say that y'all were cool, so cool that y'all had a standing like get together every week at Waffle House or whatever, but it's my friends, my buddy. I don't know, which LOL was strange. What a strange thing to say under the sun. Water was calm. Nolan was a swimmer. Water was calm going out. Coming back, the water was a little choppy. That's what he said. Coming back in, the water was a little choppy. So is he covering for one of his buddies? I don't know. Let's see.
There's a lot of people doing what? What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up, and we pulled up at 10:30. I mean, it wasn't, early afternoon. It wasn't, but 10:30 is, still pretty early in the day. And when we got there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles.
Yeah.
So 10:30 is when the boat that Warren was on arrived to the island. Whatever boat it was that allegedly took on the water and needed the tow, whatever boat that was, that is the boat that arrived at 11. Here's my thing again. From Warren's mouth, we now have 3 boats. And I'm going to put every boat at the maximum capacity, okay? So he says that the Palm Beach had 4 people on it, right? He then says that the Triton had 8 to 9 people, so we're going to put 9 people. And then he says the Tide Line had 10 to 16 people, so we're going to put 16 people. There's 29 to 30 of y'all that went out there together on these 3 boats, and all 30 of y'all didn't see what happened to Nolan. All 30 of y'all departed that island without him. If there's 3 boats out there, let me say this. If there are 3 boats out there, and if you want to include Trayston's boat, that's 4. 4 boats with people that Nolan knew out there. 1 boat wants to leave. He says, I'm going to stay behind. I'm going to catch a ride in with another friend group. That leaves 3 other boats with friends on it. It makes sense. 3 other boats. That's if y'all left at different times. But if y'all all left at the same time, there's still a problem here, because you telling me that out of all 30 of y'all, nobody questioned where was Nolan? Huh? And if Javon rode on the boat, a separate boat from Nolan, because the boat was full, and he caught a ride in on a second boat, which boat were you on, Javon? And I'm not accusing, I'm just working this case out with y'all in real time. Which boat was Javon on? That would make sense as to why when they got to the island, Javon put his phone on the same boat as Nolan, if that's what happened. You know why? Because then Javon would have gotten off of his boat and went over there to Nolan's boat. And Nolan would have left his phone on the boat, and Javon would have left his phone on the boat. Can we get the GPS for the phones? Mom has Life 360. You could go back and track. Can we get in touch with the phone company and find out where Nolan's boat was and see if where Nolan's movements were? And you should be able to see if his phone was moving about the island, because we need answers. I'm tired. I'm being so honest with y'all. We need answers to what the hell is going on. Can someone tell me again which kid did Nolan stay the night with on the 3rd before they went out, and the name of the friend's boat? So yeah, Gray Song is right. He stayed the night at Jack's house, and Warren was the one who had the phone, and Wyatt is the one that had the boats. Okay, I know it's a lot of names.
A boat. When we went out there earlier, or not earlier today, but when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
From what I saw, Javon is a baseball player. I don't see him playing football. I didn't see that on his page.
I mean, it's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles. I mean, it's.
So you think that the boats were stretching from one end to the next, or a small area of about a mile or less than a mile of boats?
Well, I mean, I think there was boats all the way around the entire island, but I think some spots were more popular than others. Like the West Tip is usually very, very crowded on the 4th of July, and everybody knows that. So that's where a lot of people park because they want to be around other people. And the East End's a little more, there's not as many people, but there's still a lot of boats out there. I mean, it's not like no one, I mean, every area of Horn Island was covered 100%.
Wow. So you get out there, y'all jump out. What do? You know, when I say jump out, you obviously not just sitting on the boat. The island is there. Like, what exactly are people doing there? Like, are you spending more time in the water, on the island, in the boat? Like, how is that look out there?
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. Like, I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks and food that they need because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But when we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side. And we were there.
Wait a minute.
Right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side.
Okay. The Palm Beach was right here. The Triton was in, wait, go back. No, I don't have to go back. Okay. The Palm Beach was right here in the middle. The Triton was on the outer side. And there was a clear as his throat drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jump off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in the water. So the tide line was here, the Palm Beach was here, and the Triton was here. These boats were side by side. And, let's go back. Let's go back to right here and let's hit play.
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. Like, I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks and food that they need because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But when we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side. And there was about a drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water. But if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water. I mean, but when we got there.
No. Did y'all hear that? The tide line was on the outer side of everything, which is the boat that he was on. The bow of the boat, which, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the back of the boat. Where the back of the boat was, there was a drop off. And if you jumped off the boat, you would be neck deep in the water. But the stern, the front of the boat, was in waist deep water. Y'all picking up? Would you? Y'all see? Okay. Y'all caught it, right? I'm not bugging. Yeah, y'all caught it? Okay. All right.
We tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. And then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around us. And then it just grew and grew as the day came on. And, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
Yeah, so y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students.
Right.
Okay, thank you. The bow was the front of the boat. Okay, and the stern is the back. See, I learned something. I don't know everything. I be finding out. I don't know shit. I ain't been on no goddamn boat. Only boats I've been on have been boats for yacht parties and ferries. I ain't been on no private boats. I'm sorry. I don't trust people like that for reasons like this. Your ass, I don't care what color you are, what ethnicity you are. I always feel like somebody gonna try to do something to me. I'm just very cautious like that. I don't know. That's just the way my paranoia is set up. So I don't set myself up to go get up on no boats with nobody. Okay. Oh, you a Navy man? Okay, thank you. So Druvy has corrected me. So the bow is the front of the boat. So the front of the boat is in neck deep water, and the back of the boat is in the waist deep water. But let me ask you something. If they dropped anchor in the waist deep water, well, I guess they would have to, because Henny Legal, you late, Bookie, but thank you. Henny Legal tried to correct me too, like, wait a minute. But yeah, I get it. Because if it's a drop off, you don't know where your anchor. Okay, I get it. That's why. So they backed in. All right. And they tied the boats up or whatever. Gotcha. But I don't like the way Tatum is like setting this thing up. So everybody's outside. They having a good time. It's the 4th of July barbecue and all. Shut up. I'm trying to be nice because I'm using his content, and I really, this video and its content are operated underneath the guides of the Fair Use Act. It is being used for commentary, reporting, and possible teachable moments as we investigate what happened to Nolan Wells. No copyright infringement is intended, and we do not own the rights to this video. It is again being used under the Fair Use Act. Gotta keep saying that.
On the island, right? Women, you probably had alcohol, so y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. In a group, I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, everybody my age, and even people older than us were, over there. It was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, every weekend. Like, I fish the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands, and I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan, and, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody.
Okay, I'm going to say this. There is a photograph of Nolan with a can in his hand, a drink in his hand. But it's pissing me off because everybody is making it seem like Nolan was drunk. If Nolan had a beer or two or three, we're going to find out in the toxicology report. Yeah. And this is why I said to Dogface, they could have checked his liver. Was his liver not there? Was it not there? I don't know. This is very disheartening. It's very disheartening. The pic showing Nolan getting a drink out of the cooler while on the boat was backed in, and the people outside of the boat were neck deep in the water right next to the boat. I don't know if that's Nolan that's on the little daddy or the big daddy, whatever the daddy boat is. I don't know if that's Nolan. It called for dark blue shorts. Those don't look like dark blue shorts to me. I don't know. Any concerns about that? Don't make no sense boat wise. Yeah. Okay, Warren. You for everybody. We get it. You have people saying Nolan could have had drugs in his system. See, I'm not even going there because there's a picture of him with a can in his hand. Maybe he had a drink or two, but I'm not going off of any of that. I'm just coming now. Has anyone discussed the fact that according to Crump, what, babe? I don't speak on things I don't have a clue about. Right. I try not to do the same as well. You know, or at least it has to make sense in my mind. I don't know. This is what I'm saying. I can understand having a drink because you would have Sunday to recover, right? But drugs, I don't think, no, I don't think he was doing drugs. He had camp. He was going into camp on Monday and he was trying out for D1 status. I don't like it. Don't like Umar, but he wouldn't have been this soft with his questioning. That's why he ain't with Umar. That's the narrative they want to push so that it can go with the drowning and they can kiss my tail. D Silver, finish your question, babe. I don't know what you were asking.
And I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and you know, Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James, Nolan, and I mean, I could tell you, I mean,
James, bring that ass here, boy. Warren done implicated you. Who is James? Javon was there. Okay. Did Crump say he was fully dressed when they found him, or I misunderstood? Okay, so the Cajun Navy said, let's talk about that for a second before we get back into the video. And I'm going to explain to y'all what I think it means and then do with that as everybody will. The Cajun Navy said that Nolan was fully dressed. I took that to mean he still had his swim trunks on. I didn't take that to mean that he had socks, shirt, and shorts on. Because the description of him, for them to say that he matched the description, which was black male, 6'1", about 180 pounds, wearing shades, no shirt, and blue shorts, dark blue shorts. So I don't know. I need them to clarify what they meant by fully dressed. I'm going to need the Cajun Navy guy to come out and explain what he meant by fully dressed. Because I took it to mean that he still had his shorts on. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be reading not too deep into it. I don't know. I'm human, okay? I'm human.
I mean, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean, there was hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
yeah. And Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan's just like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan or picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan,
right.
And Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is. We're really jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We just...
Okay. That's not what was said. That is not what was said. It was not. That's not. See, I'm getting ready to get pissed off. Nolan's organs were not missing from his body. The only thing that was missing was the interior of his throat. His organs were there. His lungs was there. His stomach was there. They said the organs were put back inside of the body for the second autopsy. They said because of the first autopsy, they could not determine whether there was water in his lungs in the second autopsy. But they never said that his organs were not there. This is what people are going to run with now. They're going to say that there was no organs in the body. And that's not what was said. Majority of us who are in here, we heard it for ourselves. Please do not believe the hype. Okay. And I hate that because I feel like I'm debunking everybody. And I don't mean to debunk nobody. Understand that. I don't mean to debunk anybody. It is nothing personal. But I'm trying to make sure that the facts stay the facts and the truth stay the truth. Like when cases get to the internet, it's never run clean. Then you get to the trial and you find out that everything that you believed about this case was wrong. I don't want to see that happen. I want Nolan to get justice. I want to know the truth of what happened to him. I don't know how true that is. I really don't know how true that is, Michi. And I'm being so honest with you. Ben has lied to us. Okay. And I don't care who gets mad. I don't care if people get upset with me. He has lied to us about the boat. He has lied to us about the pool party. He has lied to us. Well, let me not say lie. Lie is very harsh. Let me not say lie. He misinformed us because he's looking at social media as well. He's taking in everything that people are saying to him on social media, and then he's talking about it. The occasion, I'm not yelling at anyone. I'm just very passionate about what I'm saying. Let me be clear for the people who are new here. I'm from New York. When I'm passionate, I get loud. Okay. I'm not yelling at anyone. It's not personal. Let me take it down a notch. Crump has misinformed us. And you cannot say that he did not acknowledge that he misinformed us, because in that press conference outside of the DA's office, that press wanted to know about the party, about the boat, and he had to backpedal and say that that's what a witness told us. That's what a witness told us. And then they asked him about posting it to his social media. He says, "Oh, we reposted it. We reposted it because we are." What does he say? Viciously seeking the truth. Well, you're not vetting this information before you post it on your page. You're not vetting the information before you speak on it. Did you contact the Cajun Navy guy to see whether or not he meant shirt, shoes, socks, shorts? Did you ask him that? Or did you just hear that salacious detail and everybody's honing in on that one little detail? Oh, he said he was fully clothed and he wasn't clothed in his picture. Oh, he was fully clothed. And now everybody is running with this narrative. Oh, see, they brought his body back to the island. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm not saying that Nolan could not have made it off the island and then be placed there the next day. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we don't have no proof of that. We don't have no proof of that. So when you start saying things, and this is what I meant by he has a responsibility to the information that he brings to the internet, because now you've got people feeling like fully clothed means all his clothes, but that he was fully clothed, meaning that his shorts didn't come off, meaning he was not naked. The Cajun Navy guy didn't say he had on a shirt and all of this. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, the Cajun Navy guy said he was able to see his back. How could he have a shirt on if the Cajun Navy guy saw his back? Let's finish this Warren video and then we'll get into the Cajun Navy guy with the hat. We'll get into him and what he said. And we'll listen to it for ourselves. And I get very frustrated when I start following cases and then all of these rumors and stuff start coming out. It makes me almost not want to cover them, because why do we have to add to what's already scandalous? I've never understood that. But Warren is almost done. Let's see if he actually tells us what Nolan said to him that day and what that day meant to him, like Tatum said.
We enjoy our time together, you know. I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out, like, even if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to, you know, give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, you know, all my buddies are the same exact way.
Group chat. Can we get into this group chat and find out what the group chat is talking about? Can we find out the group chat information when we get into these cell phones, the forensic investigation of it all? We need to be in that group chat because he said that there's a group chat. So let's write that down. There's a group chat. Mom, have you searched the group chat? Go search the group chat, Christina. Go search the group chat, girl.
You know, Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. Like, that's how he was. So,
and then you guys get ready to leave prematurely,
right?
And like, what? Explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
Yeah,
it's now 4:30.
Right.
People are still out there partying and they're having a good time, but something happened to where it necessitated you guys to get the boat up and running. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So.
Of course he did that. Of course he did that. So you got to wait and tune in for part 2 to find out what's happening. Right at the most crucial point. Now,
Imagine
I don't
being
know.
able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Making at SCAD. Students like you.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Their...
I'm not sure if this is it. That's the most recent one. If you give me a minute, I need to pay for my damn Prime because I'm tired of these commercials. I don't like commercials when we talking. I don't like them. Okay, let me see. Oh, y'all lucky I love y'all. You know I love your mama. Y'all lucky I love y'all the way I love y'all, because I really, baby, the way this back is set up. The way this back is set up right now, I am in so much pain. Y'all have no idea. I'm fit to be laid down for the day. Just so y'all know. I'm finna be laid down. So I believe he talked about this in the interview with TMZ. So we're going to go to the interview with TMZ, and we're going to allow him to talk and let us know. Oh, let me share this. Sorry. This is the most recent one, and I believe this is the one where he said that about the body being fully clothed. Okay? So let's get into it, y'all.
And participated in the search for Nolan Wells. He's here to give us his version of events today. Brian, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Before this interview started, you started to get into the sequence of events surrounding, from when Nolan Wells was first reported missing to you getting in your plane. Can you walk us through what your story is?
Yeah, sure. So it was kind of late in the evening on 4 July when we first got a call. I think the first dispatch came in through one of our channels, through either a family member or family friend of Nolan's, who ultimately put our incident commander in touch with his mother, who at that point was in full on, search mode.
So he just said that it was one of the friends that put them in communication with the mother. So I want to know which friend was that, because it was said that Warren was the one that contacted the oh no, I'm sorry. I misspoke. So he said, yeah, through either a family member or friend or family friend of Nolan, who's ultimately put our incident commander in touch with his mother. Okay, so that's how the Cajun Navy came to be on this case. So I want to know, who is the friend that it was that Warren?
She at that point was very concerned that he was actually missing and was doing everything. They were doing everything they could to kind of retrace the steps, get his phone, get his keys, all that. So really it was the next morning when we were told that there was going to be another boat going out, possibly containing some of Nolan's family. I'm not sure what the details were of that. In the morning on 5 July, that would have been Sunday. And by late morning, we had gotten basically another call saying, hey, if you guys have any boats in the area and can go out there and canvass the island, would appreciate it. So I had two of my volunteers from the Mississippi chapter from Ocean Springs, actually, that put in like say midday on 5 July. They went out to Horn Island. They went on the island first, took a drone, looked around all over from an aerial view, and then they ran a grid between Horn Island and Ship Island with the boat. Both of these volunteers, one's a rescue specialist, one's actually a member of law enforcement, so they have a lot of experience. And they stayed at it for a few hours, and then weather started to deteriorate, so they came back in. That's when we knew we were done for the day. On 5 July, we made the decision that on 6 July, that if the weather permitted, we were going to put an aircraft up, because we were getting further and further away from the last time Nolan was seen alive.
Okay, so let's go back over what he said. All right. Oh, sorry, y'all. All right. So they said that midday on July 5th, they went out to Horn Island with the drone. So now they're out there with the drone looking for Nolan, and they see nothing. They see nothing. Now, I'm going to say this. The Cajun Navy joined about midday. The dad said that he was out there on Horn Island looking for his son. He said the coach called him at roughly about 5 o'clock in the morning. They was out there looking for him. So I don't know if that means that they left at 5 o'clock to go looking for him, or if they were at the island at 5 o'clock. So between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Nolan's dad is out on this island, right? Nolan's dad's, never mind. Let me wait to get into that, because I have questions. There's something that bothers me, and I think a lot of y'all know where I'm going with this, because I've talked about it before. If you're new here, you'll find out where I'm going with it. But they were out with the drones. midday, July 5th. And then on the 6th, they employed the airplane. And he's the one who was flying the plane.
So that's when we put that aircraft up. We were wheels up out of Gulfport International at about 06:30 on 6 July.
Right. And so, when you first get the call, how did the United Cajun Navy get looped in? Was it through Christine Monsley's social post, or was it after? Was it, through your own accord?
Yeah, so the way that happened is my understanding is that when people started posting on social media about Nolan being missing, that a lot of people started tagging the United Cajun Navy, basically just kind of making us aware that this was going on, and then ultimately kind of sequencing to asking us for help. Like I said, there was an official message. I don't know if it came through our voicemail or through one of our email or one of our social media messaging platforms, but somebody told him about the message that came through. Whoever that person was, it wasn't Nolan's mother, but whoever it was knew her and knew how to get in touch with her, and ultimately put our incident commander in touch with Christine that night on 4th July.
I have a question for you. Given the call to the Coast Guard at 11 p.m. and then the request for help the following day from JCSO at around noon, did you feel like you were starting the search a little bit later than you should be?
There wasn't really there wasn't anything that we could have done on the night of July 4th, to be honest. But also too, at that point, I still didn't know, I'll put it this way. On July 4th, when I went to sleep, I didn't know if they had finally gotten in contact with Nolan, if he had come home, if they had found out any new information. It wasn't until the morning of July 5th when I learned that he was still missing overnight.
Okay. So as far as he knew, when he laid down, so this is important right here, what he's saying. He's saying that they didn't go out and look for him on July 4th. Okay. I'm not going to say that that's odd or unusual. It's dark. It's nighttime. And, they didn't go out. But he's saying when he went to bed on the 4th. Now I'm asking, did you go to bed on the 4th or did you go to bed on the 5th? Which one did you go to the bed on? Because you know how some people don't consider it the next day until they go to sleep, like midnight hits and you be like, oh shoot, like today is Wednesday. We be like, oh, it's after midnight. Yeah. So later on today, Thursday, people be like, it's still Wednesday. No, it's not. It's after midnight. It's Thursday. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering, but either way, he was informed of Nolan being missing the night before. So they didn't go out until midday the next day.
And that's when I became very concerned that, okay, he didn't come home all night. That's a bad sign. And so it was that point when they started calling for all hands and said, okay, we'll put a boat in the water. And then that led to the activities of our search crews on 5 July.
Can you talk to me about the water conditions? What did the water conditions look like that night from where you were?
You're talking about the day he went missing or the day we started searching?
The day you started searching.
They were pretty similar to, for most part of the day, they were pretty similar to the conditions on the 4th of July. They were fairly calm. There was strong currents, but not really big waves, not a lot of wind. It was very hot. Water temperatures were upper 70s, low 80s. Toward the late afternoon, a little front moved in from the west, and presumably it chopped up the Mississippi Sound at that point. But again, our guys aborted when they saw that weather coming. So that was probably like by 3 or 4 o'clock the afternoon of 5 July is when they had to abort that search. And then that night when I huddled with my team, that was when we made the decision that, putting out another boat on Monday, presumably with the weather clearing up, was really going to be futile because, at this point we're getting too far away from the last time he was seen alive. So we needed to cover more ground quickly. And that's why we had to use an aircraft.
Okay. So boom, I think he meant Sunday instead of Monday. So that's a detail that people are overlooking. People are overlooking the fact that there was a storm, a front that rolled in July 5th in the evening time. Did y'all hear this detail before? Because I didn't listen to this interview all the way because I planned to come live and talk to y'all. But I didn't hear about a storm that had come in. Interesting. That to me, that's a major determining, that's a major detail right there. That's not something that you just overlook and bypass. There was a whole storm that kicked up, and he said it tore up the Gulf. You didn't hear about a storm, neither did I. This is the first time we're hearing that there was a storm and they had to abort mission on the 5th.
You were involved when the body was eventually located and found. What can you tell me about the state and position that the body was in that hasn't been reported?
Did you know public school
man,
homes
I
look
just
like
paid
this,
it, y'all.
which leads to this
My bad.
and crescendos.
My bad. I just paid it. I promise I just paid it.
Learnings.
Yeah. So again, just to put it into perspective, it was I'm told it was about 08:45 on 6 July when a park ranger on Horn Island discovered the body, called it in to law enforcement. We had myself and the gentleman who donated his plane that day out of Gulfport. We had been flying for about 2 hours at that point. We were making a track going from Horn Island over to Ship Island down to Chandelier Island, which is south of both of those islands, about another 30 miles. So we were coming back up north towards the northwest tip of Horn Island when we noticed there were boats in the center of the island where there's a lagoon, and then we saw some boats approaching the northwest tip. And then when we
apparently they can't say, I don't know how Nolan would get right back to where he was. He gave an explanation before, saying that if he was pulled under a riptide, it would make sense. That's where I got that information from, was from him. I'm gonna see if it's the other video that I was watching where he said it. If he got caught, and sucked under in a drop off, that he would roll out, but then he would roll back in right to where he was, because he wouldn't go too far from where the body wouldn't go too far from where he was. But now you're saying that there's a storm. The storm could have pushed Nolan back to the water. Oh my God. Stop it. I just caught a visual. Like his body could have been being tossed around in that water. Or somebody could have decided that the storm was a perfect cover to go and dump him. I don't know. I'm not against his body going back to the mainland and coming back, but it just doesn't make sense that they would take him to the mainland and kill him and then dump his body at the island. And it doesn't make sense to me that would happen, only because why wouldn't you throw his belongings in the water? Like, why wouldn't you chuck his phone into the water? I mean, yeah, true. There's probably other phones on the deck and you probably don't know which one is which, but I'm sure you could turn a phone on if the phone was powered off, and figure out which one is his and throw it in the water. I'm not going to bring evidence back and say, oh, by the way, here's his phone and, the keys are where his car is. And I'm not going to do that. But then again, I'm a grown ass woman. I'm not a teenager. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue.
we got closer, we noticed there were two boats already parked in tandem on the beach. That was strange. It was a Monday morning. It was obvious they weren't fishing. So we descended and to about maybe 450 feet, 500 feet, and we could tell.
Oh, I stand corrected because you're right. The 4th of July was a Saturday, and Sunday they were looking, and Monday is when he was found. Yeah.
It was law enforcement boats, law enforcement personnel. So we descended maybe another 100 feet or so, circled around, and that's when I saw a law enforcement presence gathering on that northwest point. And then I noticed that there was a what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline, laying face down on the sand.
The implication is that this body.
Okay. No, Drew V, his dad went out on the morning of July 5th. He didn't go out on the morning of July 6th. He had gone out early morning, July 5th, looking for him. No, he did not say he went out there the morning that they found his body. They didn't find Nolan's body till the next day. So, he said where his body washed ashore at is where he was looking for him on the 5th, like on the 5th. But what I do want to bring up, since we've gone there and you've mentioned the father, is what happened to the people who were tented out on the island when the dad was searching? What happened to the 2 boats that were docked at the island when the dad was searching? What happened to that? Because I think everybody overlooks that detail. Everybody skips over that. The dad specifically told us, even though this guy is going to tell us that it's prohibited for people to camp out on the island, a quick Google search said it's not. It's not illegal to stay the night there, but that you cannot dump on the island, right? And it's very obvious that there was people out there. The dad has no reason to come out here and lie to us and tell us that there was people camped out on the island under a tent and that there was 2 boats that were tied up in that morning. Nobody saw these people but the dad and the coach. Nobody seen them. And now I understand why the aerial search would not have pulled up those people. They wouldn't have seen them making their way out of the water. So, have we figured that information out?
Had washed up, unfortunately, on the shore.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
Did you see any visible injuries or anything that you can speak to at that distance?
No, from that height, right? So it's best I can do. The description matched Nolan Wells. It matched the area. It was the area where we were looking. So I had good reason to believe, even before I heard from the sheriff's office, that it was him. The swim trunks appeared to be similar color to what was reported. The one thing I'll say about the condition of the body, and again, I want to stress very, as much as I can, that I'm at 450 feet in the air. So I did not have a good ground's eye view look. But normally when a body's been floating, you'll see some bloating and whatnot. He wasn't in the water that long. The water temperature was high. He has a low body mass index. So both of those factors together, normally we'll look for a body to pop up on about day 4, but we knew it was possible it could pop up as soon as day 2. And this was day 2. Again, the body, I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now, I could not get a good look at his face. I could not get a good look of the front side of his body, which was on the beach. I was really looking at his back of his legs, back of his arms.
He was looking at his back. He mentioned the swim trunks being on. He was looking at his back. How could he be looking at his back if Nolan had a shirt on? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't mean the literal back. I don't know.
That kind of thing. And so that was my vantage point. And I just want to stress to everybody that that's not an ideal vantage point. It's just what I could see. And plus I'm flying at like 90 knots. So, I'm going pretty fast. So I'm really getting when I say a glimpse, it's a glimpse.
Was there anything about the location, how close to shore, how far from the shore when he was last seen, that struck you as unusual?
I don't want to say unusual, but I would say that the wind and drift patterns that I was studying what had me believing that he was going to be taken through that ship channel between Horn Island and Ship Island and carried south. It's important to also point out that just like maybe 6 or 7 weeks prior to this, there was a shrimp boat worker who had gone off MOB, man overboard, off of a shrimp boat in Pascagoula, which is on the coast, like close to Horn Island. And it took about a week before we found him, but he had washed up all the way down at the Chandelier Island. So that could have also influenced my pattern of thought, just because in a similar, he didn't go overboard on the island, but it was in a similar area and he got carried through that channel. Based on where Nolan washed up, my assumption, and again, I'm a search and rescue person. I'm not an investigator, but it seems like what happened was he was carried north, which indicates to me that he might have got caught in a rip current, and it carried him north. And then as the tide slacked and the current changed back to a southward heading, it carried him right back to the beach. The only thing that really stood out to me that I was not expecting is that he washed up very, very close to the last spot where he was seen alive.
Okay, so he washed up very close to the last spot that he was seen alive. That's suspect as hell.
I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you saw or heard during the search that you feel hasn't gotten enough public attention?
I think that the biggest thing that stands out for me, and I think this sort of is why I understand the way that his parents have gone about this search and the whole case, is that there's just seems to be no information past about 4:30 that afternoon on July 4th until he was found. Now, I'm told that police have interviewed up to 60 witnesses. There's a lot of people who have turned in images and videos to us. And there's people I know that have turned images and videos over to law enforcement. So there's a lot about this. There's a lot of evidence in this case I have not personally seen, and a lot of accounts I have not heard. But based on everything that people did offer to us, it's just very, it's just hard to understand why, his friends leave, sometime around 4:30. That seems to be about the last time somebody said they visually saw him on the island with a different friend group, and then just nobody ever saw him again after that. And so that's why I like I said, I fully understand the parents are like, I mean, it's like a vanishing, and that doesn't make any sense. So of course they want to accept every bit of help they can get and just have it looked into as thoroughly as possible, because they buried their son today and they need to know why.
Mr. Trusher, I sincerely appreciate you.
All right, so there you have it. Where did we hear the fully clothed? Was that on Nancy Grace? Let me tell you something. I don't give a damn. I'm going to say it because that's what I do. I speak and I say the shit that other people ain't going to say. I am not giving Nancy Grace an atta girl. I refuse. I refuse because, oh shoot, I had the wrong background up this whole time. Y'all didn't even give a damn, honestly. I know. Y'all like, girl, we don't care about that. We just want the henny, girl. Give us the henny. So Nancy Grace does not get an atta girl from me at all. And I really don't give a damn about Nancy being on this case or not. Because the way she handled Carmelo's case, and I said this yesterday, it's a no-go for me. At the end of the day, Nancy Grace drug Carmelo Anthony for filth on her channel, on her platform, to her audience of hundreds of thousands of people. Okay. She drug him, his parents, the case. Right? Now that all of this information has come out about the gentleman's deal, about the recusal, about the request for a new trial, she has never covered that. She's also never retracted any of her statements. She's just moved on. What's up? She just moved on to another topic. Meanwhile, you were covering this case viciously, covering this case. Yet you didn't come back and cover. Hey. Migo. Come here, Migo. You didn't come back and correct yourself. Not one time. Not one time. Migo. Come here. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh, come on. Come. Sit. Okay, good boy. You didn't come back and correct yourself at all. So I really don't give a damn about her being on this case. I'm not rah-rah shishkumbaing her. I'm not giving her no applause. I'm not giving her no atta girl. Okay? So other people can. What you choose to do is what you choose to do. If you happy she's on the case, be happy she's on the case. But as for me, I'm cool off it. I'm cool off of it. So, I don't know where the guy said that he was fully clothed. I thought that was the interview, but I mean, it is what it is. We still today we listened to Warren. Today we have watched the autopsy, and we walked away with more questions than answers. I will be back a little later on this evening covering the D4VD case because they are doing preliminaries. And today is day 2 of the preliminary reports on that. So I will be back a little later on for that. Please be sure that you have your notifications on. And I will post to my Instagram page when I am live over here, so you guys know that I'm live. In the meantime and in between time, it's still justice for Nolan. We're going to keep trucking on and make sure that y'all tap in at 8 p.m. today for me and Dogface Live Unfiltered. Thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in. I appreciate everybody. I couldn't do this without y'all. I'm going to go rest myself, though. Thank y'all for coming out. Good night and God bless. Peace, y'all. I am. Thank you.